Alrighty. Joe, how are you? Well, you know what? I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about the audio that I fucking don't want to talk about. But it turns out I was using mic level on the big Black Magic box here instead of line level, and God is good.
Right on.
So Joe, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Good, perfect, great. Opening shout out today, Jacob V Weekly, February 11th, 2021. I just saw on Facebook the Crow's Nest, my favorite little local place to get kicked out of, just posted, and we're back, kind of, starting Monday, February 22nd. We'll be reopening with a limited menu and packaged booze for curbside pickup only. Stay tuned for more information in the coming weeks. Very small space there, so hard to socially distance. They've been kind of just completely closed, but they're going to start doing the menu again, curbside, so do that. I think I need to break up with drive-thrus altogether. I think I completely need to just separate that from my life. The experience has gotten so bad and so inconsistent since COVID. And my wife doesn't eat out of a drive-thru. She won't really. That's just not her speed. We like to kind of commit to more local options, and usually that kind of leads us to in a more healthy direction. We get groceries delivered because I fucking hate stores. So we go delivery all the time, especially since COVID now on that one. And when you have your own place, you kind of lose that kind of like desire to leave. You know what I mean? You feel like you have most of the stuff. I got all my shit here. You know what I mean? I got all my toys. But I don't know. Just if you can get to the window in a drive-thru and there's people working there that can actually service you in any kind, I don't mean just to help out in any kind of way. It's hard. It's hard to have a positive experience. I get a lot of regular Cokes, and I don't drink regular Cokes.
Yeah.
We have a big show today. We have visitors. We will have visitors. We will have some experts on some different topics. This is sort of going to carry over some stuff from last week. But God damn it, Joe.
What, is it a lot of noise? I put the limiter on.
No. It has nothing to do with you. I'm mad because Gen Z is calling millennials out. Do you identify as a millennial?
I do. I'm actually the tail end.
Yeah, you're like the youngest millennial I can think of. You're like 24.
Yeah.
And I really think you had to be like post 9/11. Like, we're going to talk to my brother-in-law here in a minute, I hope, who is our resident kind of Zoomer, and I'm going to ask him some questions. But
he's like double my age.
What?
He's like way old. Oh, your brother-in-law. Okay.
My brother-in-law.
Yeah, sorry.
No. He's younger than, I think the oldest Zoomers, we call them, the Gen Z kids, are 21 just now. You know what I mean? So,
how are we gonna?
They're mad at us. They're mad at us. He's gonna jump in this call. They're mad at. I wrote some stuff down that they're mad at us about: skinny jeans, side parts, Harry Potter, and our internet culture. I saw a meme that read, "The anatomy of an old person." And mind you, I'm an absolute millennial. I was born in 91. My brother-in-law is 19. He's who we're going to talk to here in a minute. He was born after 9/11. He's Gen Z for sure. The oldest Gen Z motherfuckers are like 21. And oldest millennials are like in their 30s. But who gives a shit? And so the meme says, and I'm going to ask him about this, aging millennials are characterized by their love of things like side parts, skinny jeans, wine, and the laughing cry emoji. Many millennials, like this one, are in a state of discomfort regarding their proximity to middle age. So get the ninja stars, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what? In this economy?
Yeah, it is funny. It is funny that those people are middle aged. Like, they're gonna like. I would love to see the conservative millennial.
Well, there's definitely millennials in their 30s. I just turned 30.
Yeah, I guess really the what captures the image of the conservative, frustrated millennial really is what's going on right now. Like,
what makes me so mad is these, like some of those psychos, like fucking Candace Owens is definitely a millennial.
Yeah, right.
Ben Shapiro is probably an older millennial. I have no idea how old he is. He could be 12. Right. He could be 48. I'm not sure.
He really could be. Yeah.
He's a Martian.
Yeah.
He's like a gray.
That's the way he talks.
Secondly, first off, I'm so pissed about this whole thing, about that whole meme. I should put it on the screen. I don't think I have it on my computer. I'll text it to you. You could. What can you do? What does that
You
even
can text
mean?
me. You can get me all different ways.
I mean,
Get me
call
all
me,
over.
beat me if you
Yeah.
wanna.
Is that
Reach
Marilyn
me.
Manson?
No, that's Kim. That's Kim Possible. First off, if I
Yeah,
was
I saw
skinny, I
this.
wouldn't wear the skinny jeans. I wore bootleg for a long time, and it made me look like fucking Frankenstein's monster. I felt like a big. I felt like I was made out of like branches or logs was the word I
Yeah.
couldn't think of.
You're like a
Secondly, I would love for any of these kids. These are a lot of these kids. A lot of I know Gen Z very well. That's been my whole teaching career, is these little bastards, and I would love for any of them to read me a page out of Harry Potter with any fluency. I didn't know, just because there was a popular series of books out that taught us all how to read, I didn't know that was a crime.
right.
Just because you can't read 7 long books,
Yeah.
it's not their fault. That's what makes this whole thing hard, is a lot of them are still children.
Right.
Even if they're 21, even if they're 22, that's a baby.
hmm Yeah.
What am I gonna have challenge a 19-year-old kid to a spelling bee?
Right.
Is that what I'm gonna do? I mean, we've totally stagnated in literacy for like a decade as a nation. If someone under the age of 21 actually wrote the blurb on that meme, there's some big words in there. That person should be like the poet laureate to their drooling fucking peers. Because I was like, first off, they don't know. They just don't know. I'm sure there's smart ones out there. They don't let me work with the smart ones usually, but I'm sure they exist. You're in a study thing right now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're all trying to read Huckleberry Finn all
No,
together.
you're not.
Yeah,
No,
we are.
No, you're not.
And it's literally like calculus. We're just sitting here like, what the fuck?
That's not really what you're doing.
Yeah, that is. We have here's the manuscript, and we're just trying to debunk what all these words mean. It's really weird. We just all feel really unprepared. I mean, this is American Literature 4. This is the 4th version of this class. Like, it's not really
I
fun.
don't think it's the version.
I said the Virgin.
Why?
That it's the edition, Virgin,
Um,
like Britney Spears.
you leave her alone. Don't you start with me. Don't come at my girl. We're gonna talk about that shit in a minute.
What
Super
was she-
Bowl. This is so funny. So my wife is working on her MBA and had 2 projects to work on that night, Sunday night of the Super Bowl. And so she suggested that I like live stream along with the Super Bowl. I assume like a companion. And we were doing great. We made it like 29 whole minutes. And I had the game looking really good. We were having fun. And then YouTube pulled it. NFL copyright. And then Twitch pulled it with a 48-hour ban and a strike on my account. Facebook is too dumb. I think the first 29 minutes of me talking over an HD stream that I guess I was accidentally illegally restreaming, that's still up on the Facebook, I think. I should have been doing a companion, like just a talk along. You know, a podcast will do this. They'll companion an episode of a show or a live sporting event or something. I don't know why that didn't come to me. Maybe it was a little late in the day. Maybe I didn't plan this far enough in advance to really figure out how to do it the right way. But I was basically pirating the CBS stream of the Super Bowl and putting it on Twitch, and that's why they got mad.
Yeah.
So, we know better. We know better. Game was boring as fuck. I wanted those nobodies from Kansas City to win just because I wanted Tom Brady to have to deal with, maybe I can't do it without Bill Belichick, and maybe I'm not perfect, and I'm not, the best of all time. And I don't know. He looked really good. They whooped fucking Kansas City like a motherfucker. I don't really watch a lot of sports, but I went to bed, I think, before the 4th quarter.
Everybody did, yeah.
I also heard, final score was 31-9. I heard Brady sort of handpicked his starting lineup, not just bringing Gronk out of retirement, but like 3 or 4 other dudes as well. I'd be pissed if initially, at least. Like, I'd be excited to have A-listers on my team if I was some guy that lived in Kansas City and played for the fucking Chiefs. Like, those were some Midwestern looking dudes on that team. You know what I mean? There was some neck meat. There was some corn in the feed. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just a different thing with but you would think Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like, that's not a team that you would think sounds like I'd ever heard of before even. But it's cuz Brady brought like 4 or 5 dudes and kind of like took over. Why is your hand on your face?
I feel like the equivalent of throwing the Gatorade on the coach during the
I was asleep by then.
Well, I feel like the equivalent to that in the Midwest is like, if a Midwest team wins, you throw the keg in the fireplace, and you just explode the keg of Busch Light. It's an attempt.
Lots of mixed opinions about kind of course, everything has to have a political kind of interpretation. People are mad at Bruce Springsteen's Jeep commercial and then his, goofy DUI experience. There's that's all still kind of crazy.
One shot of tequila.
Yeah, it's weird. And I don't know anything about him or his behavior or his history with alcohol. So, who knows? I wasn't there, and I don't have a dog in that fight, as they say. But also his Jeep commercial was so America's all about coming together, meeting in the middle.
Agreeing.
We got to reach across the aisle for the ketchup. You know what I mean? And I hate that shit more than anything. You know me.
Yeah.
And so
Reaching.
I don't know. And so I hear so many honkies, I'll call them. Specific dude. I'm not going to say all old white dudes do this, but this specific type of dude. I'm thinking New Balance dudes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I'm thinking
on right now.
They say things like, well, I just wish we could keep the politics out of it.
Yeah.
Right? And as educated and appropriately employed members of our privileged class, of course. But the appropriate channels allow minorities to be totally ignored historically, and that's why we can't just let you have a nice little football game, is because, when you're having a nice little football game, people are also getting shot in the face.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if people weren't getting shot in the face, we could all have a nice little football game. But when you're getting shot in the face, it's hard to have a nice little football game.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we even need, what are we doing? Do we even need to talk about that?
No, I mean, that's just on my list of things I wrote down during the Super Bowl.
I know, I'm not trying to criticize. I was just, that's the response.
You don't want to go there. Well, I'll bring it up with Al. Al will help out.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's cool. Halftime show was fun. It didn't feel like a live set, though. It felt like a performance to the cameras, like some kind of a live shoot, like live stream thing, which I guess is kind of what it was. And I love The Weeknd. His voice is a little high for some of the live banter and whatnot. Like at one point he went, Super Bowl! And you sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, brother.
Right,
and then the mustache and the working up on the camera is just not how I know him. I don't really know him to be so... Like that was that was the David Hasselhoff approach.
Right.
Like beat up on the camera. It's like, look at me. Oh yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
running down.
That's not who The Weeknd was. You know what I mean? And I guess he wants to step into that role a little bit more. He's got a big world tour coming up. And again, I love a lot of his music. I mean, his first that big album, was it called Trilogy? But it was like 3 albums at once. It was great. Right. Or 3 EPs, maybe. I don't know if they were all full length or whatever. But I also thought his show was supposed to be 24 minutes. I thought that's why he put so much of his own money in it. Was it 24 minutes?
Definitely didn't feel like it.
It didn't feel like it. You could have told me it was the usual 12. Oh, we were talking about this already. Have you heard all the people are mad at Justin Timberlake?
Why?
He's been called out in some documentary for exploiting his experiences with both Britney Spears and Janet Jackson.
Yeah, they should go after him 30 years ago for that.
A huge part of his breakout as a young artist, I remember, was him dating Britney Spears. You're probably young for this.
Yeah, that was probably epic.
But yeah, you probably saw the picture. They had the matching denim outfits that were ridiculous.
I remember.
And I love Britney Spears. I'm picking her in that fight all the time, and I'm a huge Justin Timberlake fan historically.
They said the halftime show is about 20 minutes long, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be a full 24, but I mean, it didn't feel long at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Apparently he, well, also even if you look at the Jan Jackson thing, he was the one that kind of exposed the breast, and then she gets all the blame.
Yeah.
He goes on TV and says, "Oh, I'm appalled," and then
no, he did. He said,
and then
that?
a couple years later, he was back in the halftime show. Meanwhile, Janet Jackson was never on TV again, to my knowledge.
That is funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, they were both very young when him and Britney dated, but she's obviously not well. And, he just maybe this is just the double standard of society, but their breakup kind of, made her look bad and made him look like a cool dude. I don't know. I mean, like it just wasn't the same thing. Maybe that's just him leveraging his privilege, but he gets to go just jump on SNL whenever he wants and be in A-list movies whenever he wants.
Right.
And drop album. He smokes a lot of weed. That's why he doesn't make more music. He said that before. And I love all of his stuff. I love all of his records play a really important role at the moment in my life that they came out. Like all of his solo records. And NSYNC was huge when I was a little kid. I was more of a Backstreet Boys girl. The Spice Girls were my first love, really. The Spice Girls were really my first jam.
They're incredible. It's an incredible band.
I mean, and it was the allure and just I always liked pretty girls anyway, and then the girl power thing, and there was like 9 of them, and
Yeah.
They were also kind of like the Power Rangers. They were like if you took a girl pop band and then made them all have this slight mythology, so it's a little more fun. And then they had that movie. I burnt that movie out, son, when I had that on VHS. It was Spice World. It was like a feature film about like a fictional leg of their tour where they like met aliens. Did you never see Spice World?
I'm
you motherfucker.
I thought you were talking about what is it? The Cheetah Girls.
Josie and the Pussycats?
No, there was actually a band called Cheetah, and Raven Simone was kind of in it, kind of not in it.
No. This is way before Raven Simone. What?
They kind of appropriated the Spice Girls thing. I think it was a movie about the Spice, kind of like the Monkees in America compared to the Beatles.
So you haven't seen Spice World?
That's what I'm saying.
God. My question there is, where were the parents? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I'll send you a copy. I have it on DVD.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can teach me how to read Huckleberry Finn.
I'm not doing that. I'll tell you right now, that's a waste of time. You should have read that by now.
That's what they're telling me. It's weird.
You didn't read that in school?
No. We actually focus mostly on Harlem Renaissance African American literature.
For 12 years?
Yeah.
You only read stuff from the Harlem Renaissance for 12 years?
I've read Song of Solomon 8 times.
What?
I've read Song of Solomon 8 times.
Who wrote that?
That was
Don't.
What's her name? I don't. Well, it's
Hey, you're my Google guy, right?
Right.
Song of Solo. It will finish it for you. It'll say Song of Solomon is an American novel by Toni Morrison. You fucking idiot! I wrote a beautiful.
You were waiting for me to say it.
I wrote a beautiful paper about The Bluest Eye when I was in college, and I never read it.
Who's that?
The Bluest Eye was another Toni Morrison novel.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. Everybody's calling me.
Who's calling you?
My girlfriend was calling me, and I'm in the study group.
Does she not know that we have this appointment?
She does. She just is ignorant.
Does she want to talk to me?
Whenever you're around, she does.
But what do we even do about Justin Timberlake? Let's even like he's not a criminal. Even if we delete all his future opportunities, he's already still loaded as fuck. He's got all this money. He could just ghost. That smarmy fucker who I've loved. He gets to just move to Mars with Elon Musk and Kim Kardashian, and I'm going to be down here cleaning up the mess.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky, I'll be eaten alive by my own grandchildren. Like that's
Right.
best case scenario for our generation. Is if we're lucky,
Yeah.
I'll get to be old enough to have grandchildren, and then I'll let them eat me alive because it'll be fucking Mad Max down here.
Yeah.
And all the fucking millionaires will be up in Elysium.
Yeah.
On Mars. With Elon.
That would be funny if we become the third world country and there's like a 3 days grace kind of band on Elysium, and they're like, their music video is like what's going on Earth.
Oh yeah, they have like these war scenes and these like these apocalyptic landscapes, and it's just we shot this on location back on Earth. It's fucked up down there. They fly in, they hover down in a Tesla drone, and they get out and they lip sync to their song, and then they fly back up and say, "Bro, we shot this on Earth."
That's good. That's the Time.
Have you ever been to Earth?
Yeah, right.
That's gonna be great. I bet I'll be delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, and the baby's got to eat. The baby's got to eat. My God. Well, we solved that. Oh, God. Speaking of the apocalypse, inmates at St. Louis jail attack corrections officer, set fires to their unit. About 150 detainees escaped their cells and were able to overtake the jail's 4th floor, according to Mayor Lyda Cruz's communications director, Jacob Long. So you saw this as it was happening, right?
Yeah.
It was so crazy. They busted out windows. They were holding out sheets with like signs on them. I don't know what they said. And it was, and then it turned into a big controversial thing that they were protesting the inhumane conditions, especially concerning their COVID precautions.
Right.
Activists called it an act of courage and a protest against inhumane conditions. For example, it took almost 7 hours for the revolt at the city's Justice Center to be brought under control. We have hundreds of people in jail pre-trial, right? This is jail. This is not prison. So these are people that haven't been actually like convicted of anything yet. Many of them can't afford bail, and that's why they're there. Also, there are people that had tested positive on that floor in that jail, and there are people that were displaying symptoms. These folks were just being housed in the same unit as people who hadn't tested positive and had no symptoms. So people were just letting the cellmates, who weren't even convicted prisoners yet, right? They were just letting them just lounge about in this unprotected sea of COVID, which, again, I'm sure there will be plenty of people in the comments who are like, well, good, if they hadn't committed a crime. But I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, innocent until proven guilty is kind of still a thing people act like is important to them. So I think maybe we should pay attention to that a little bit.
Are they supposed to be able to afford bail? I'm not defending the practice.
Well, even if I don't know what the law is locally, but even if you only have to put up 10% of the bail or in cash, or somebody can sign for it, or you have a bail bondsman or whatever.
Right.
I mean, those are all examples of privilege. What if you have nobody to call? What if you're a crazy homeless person and you get arrested for trying to break into a place, and then they can't put you on trial for 7 months, and you have literally no way to verify your bail?
Yeah.
And
It's a
homeless
plethora
doesn't
of
mean
issues.
living on the street. Homeless could mean, I get to sleep at this buddy's house most nights, and sometimes in my car or whatever. It could be a lot of different things. There's just a huge range of options in poverty. That's what makes it so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it a board game.
Man, you are dynamic like a block of ice
I'm
tonight.
sorry. I'm doing a lot of yes.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go find a bucket
and a mop
and fill it with your own shit and let me talk to that bucket of shit?
Yeah.
The Gen Zer is being late on purpose. I think he's catfishing me. He said,
"Oh,
I'm on my way, but he's not here."
Dude,
And
that is
maybe he doesn't know what he's doing.
Maybe he's gonna give us the full class experience. He's gonna show up.
He's gonna make us look dumb. Is what he's gonna do. He's gonna be like, invites.
Yeah.
He joined what? Where did he join?
let's come over to some of these other articles, though, Jake. I feel like.
Oh God, do we have more stuff here? Did we finish the prison thing?
You didn't. Yeah, we're done with the prison.
I mean, that's a problem. We're gonna follow up on that.
Oh wait, were we waiting for the rest of the material for him?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I thought he'd be in and out already.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, the $15 minimum wage is only to government jobs.
Oh, is that how that works? Biden's $15 minimum wage would cost 1.4 million jobs, is what the headline says.
Yeah, but it's like this is also the Washington Post, but it's not for just it's not for just regular workers.
Like everybody.
Yeah.
You think it just applies to people that work for the federal government?
Yeah. Well, sorry. The first pay increase is
because it's tiered, right? It's gradual.
Yeah. And then, later on, I'm sure his hope is to have, but that's just, I don't know. It's very complicated too.
Well, great. Okay, so you'll work on that. We'll figure that out later.
Well, I don't know. Do you really want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about how, like...
I think Al will have some opinions on that. Hey, pin that for Alfred. Alfred Ludwig's going to be on the program tonight, y'all.
Highlighting it in red. Cut. Paste. I love Al.
Who?
Al.
Yeah, he's great. We're also expecting Chris Ward on the program at any minute. The name of the episode tonight is STONKS. We typically don't pre-pick the name of the episode.
Yeah.
But we've planned this conversation here, as we've alluded to in our previous streams. We got one more. Let's hit another one of these headlines before we move forward. Uh-oh, we got a visitor here. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, my gosh.
Christopher?
It's Jason Bourne.
Am I on the show?
Yeah, you're live on the air at Jacob V Weekly. How are you today?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm good.
I really appreciate your time.
I almost changed my sweater because I saw you had a red sweater.
No, this is great.
My only other sweater is yellow.
Here, stop the steal. You know what I'm saying? Stop the steal.
Generation Z.
No. This is Chris Ward. This is our Chris Ward is our Stonks man on the street. We were waiting on. We're getting catfished by my brother-in-law who's 19. We had a meme that we started talking about on the show that where Gen Z is accusing millennials of aging poorly or something. I forget how they worded it. And so I wanted to have my 19-year-old brother-in-law, as the only Gen Z person I really know, on to explain his angle on the generational divide. And he can't figure out how to work Zoom. So it's just like my normal experience.
That's a great irony. I heard, Joseph, I heard you say you were at the opposite end of the millennial spectrum. And I am on the opposite end.
Yeah, so Chris is one of our...
I'm a zennial, so I'm 39. So I'm...
Yeah.
Jesus.
We have nothing in common.
Yeah, Joe's 24. I'm 30. I'm right in the middle. Al is 78. He's going to be here at 8 o'clock, I believe. So Chris...
The internet is thrilled for the three white guys talking about their age show.
Yeah. Let's all... Guys, make sure you're smashing that like button. We are three Midwestern white dudes at various ages.
Call in now and tell us your age.
Yeah. What is that? Is that a Schnucks brand Dr. Pepper?
It's a bubbly.
Oh, it's a fucking bubbly. Yeah, girl.
Yeah. I'm sponsored, so I got to get this product in.
It kind of matches your coat or whatever you're wearing.
Yeah, your Hillary Clinton jacket.
It's not bad.
My Kinbone light.
Oh, yeah. That's not... It's good. It's got a nice kind of pinkish underhue on there. So, Chris, again, the reason we originally reached out to you and I have known each other for like 10 years, for you doing a lot of different things.
10 years.
It's like crazy like that. Yeah, I was like 19 or something. And maybe,
oh my God, you're right. That's yeah. Okay.
And we've done various things together, either musically or performance-wise, or just, one time you made me you dress up like a teddy bear and like smash some art.
Oh, that's right. KDHX Art Attack.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I made you buy me like 9 fat tires, and then I had to sit in the parking lot and eat a honey bun.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it was a great night. It was a great night.
Buying underage kids alcohol is my...
I don't know if I was that young then. It's possible. It was right on the verge. But really, the reason that I invited you to come on now as opposed to any other time is because you and I were talking on Clubhouse a couple weeks ago in the midst of the whole GME, GameStop, AMC, Nokia, Wall Street Bets thing that exploded.
That seemed like 8 months ago?
But bro, if you look at the calendar,
it's 2 weeks, right?
It's hardly 2 weeks. It's February 11th. It started like the Friday before. I think it was the last Friday in February that it kind of, or in January, I mean, that it kind of started in a way that people like me kind of found out about it. So I wanted to talk to you about when and where you heard about what and how that influenced your behavior, and then when you got off the train, and then we'll get to where the train is now.
I got on the train when I was just sort of like on Reddit, and I don't remember why because I don't really hang out there a lot anymore, but I caught wind of it, and I had already owned some stocks because I wanted to learn about stocks, and I still know nothing about stocks, but I got the Robinhood
This was
app.
Definitely my first experience, right? This was really jumping on Clubhouse with you motivated me just to download Robinhood and kind of engage in the process enough that I could learn about it, because there's so much vocabulary involved that we don't necessarily have to be the authority on or anything, but it was just such a, like you're saying, it's not that you're an expert, it's that you are learning it at the consumer level.
Yeah. Never listen to me about finances
for
any reason.
Right. I guess we should make that disclaimer now.
For any reason. And I know if Al's coming on, isn't he a lawyer?
Yeah, he's much better about covering our asses. Yeah, that's really why I like to have him on. He's kept us from getting canceled, at least here locally, for a long time.
Yes. I got the app just to kind of learn about stocks, me and my buddies, and then I had a few, but then I caught wind of this thing and I bought some up. I didn't get GameStop. I didn't get in on that early. I bought it in a dip when it already kind of.
So it had already started. That trend had already started.
It started, but I bought it for like $100, and I think I sold it for like 400 or something.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't get on.
But I got on the AMC, BlackBerry, what else? Nokia, like some other ones kind of early. And I got out the day after because it took off, and that day was crazy and it was exciting and fun.
What day was that?
That was, is this a deposition?
Yeah, it's a deposition. This is all on record.
What day?
I want to say, what was it, a Thursday or a Wednesday? It took off. It was incredible. And then, I wish you had someone on your show who could just Google things. And
yeah, it's almost like I don't have one of those guys. It's almost like I have.
Trying to learn Huck Finn.
He's fucking in an English class right now. Apparently, I didn't know.
I'm looking it up. What day? But I thought that you would have the inside scoop, like it was a couple days earlier.
Joe, this is a conversation. You're badgering my witness,
sir. I brought funny little hand props.
Yeah, we got a hand prop and a globe. Okay.
So I got in, and then that day it was crazy.
Right.
And then that very next day when Robinhood fucked us.
Yeah.
Everything, I just watched my money. It was like down $900 or something. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And it was like, at that point, either get out and lose the money or stay and see what happens. Or I don't know what. I guess those are my options. Because Robinhood froze me out of buying.
So because you put orders in, but then they refunded them when the market actually opened because they couldn't confirm them?
No, what they did is I bought all the stocks I wanted to buy. Robinhood the next day said, you can't buy any more stocks, but you can sell.
Right. Okay. So that I was a part of that. I remember that.
So that puts me in the position of, because when that happened, it happened to a lot of people and they freaked out. So if nobody can buy, then the price can't go up and everybody starts panicking and dumping stocks. So the price is plummeting and my money's in and there's nothing I can do. So I waited the next day, and I think out of revenge or spite, like it shot back up that next day. And then I cashed out.
Oh, okay. Because probably people were, well, I know that the next couple of days they would open up 10 shares at a time or 5 shares at a time per buyer.
Yeah, really stupid stuff.
And they would open up 1 share per transaction per buyer.
Yeah, and I don't know what the analogy is.
It's all open. It's all over now, but also the whole the run is gone also from both
right.
of those, I believe.
It's dropped. I actually stayed at AMC and BlackBerry because I thought BlackBerry was a decent stock on it.
Well, and you and me talked about that. We don't necessarily have to talk about the idea behind the BlackBerry thing, but if you don't want to, but BlackBerry may actually have business they're doing, whereas AMC and GameStop, that's not necessarily why those stocks were increasing in price. It had nothing to do with their assets or their business decisions.
It kind of converged because BlackBerry was like, it's a kind of a meme stock. People think about BlackBerry and they're like, oh, those old phones, but they've actually pivoted to like cybersecurity and stuff. So they have stuff going on. The analogy I used for Jacob was like Smucker's Raspberry Preserves, that company?
Uh-huh.
Hey, do younger millennials know Smucker's? The jelly?
Joe, do you eat Smuckers?
Yes, I've had Smuckers.
Okay.
Why are you mad about it?
I'm not.
With a name like Smuckers, you got to be mad. That's their slogan.
Really?
Smuckers is, they mostly make dog food now. I had no idea. So they've pivoted and they're making all this money, but it's
that sounds delicious.
Public knowledge. So
we're already making dog food.
Peanut butter.
Slam Smuckers.
Smuckers is the shit, but don't they make that side by side? That's weird.
Take that grape jam. You got dog food in my jelly. You got peanut butter in my dog food. Two great tastes. It tastes.
Did they do the one that's the strips of jelly and peanut butter in the same jar?
Yes. Disgusting. I don't like peanut butter, so I'll never go near it.
Yeah. So what do you do with the jam? Just on a biscuit? A savory biscuit?
I take my finger. I just get the jelly out.
Oh my god.
And I leave the peanut butter in. Give that away.
No, I just meant with preserves in general. This is an analogy.
What's the difference between preserve, compote, and jelly and jam?
Well, I know compote usually has all of the pulp and twigs and shit still in it.
Okay.
But it could still be delicious.
Much different from blueberry compost.
Compote is a cousin
is
to preserves. It's made with fresh or dried fruit, cooked slow and low in a sugar syrup, preserves, which are jarred for future use, and jelly is a paste that is processed.
You're breathing that all slow and sexy in my ear in a way that I gotta chill up my spine.
Jelly's like
it was compote, sir, slowly boiled.
Jam is more like a butter.
So talk to me about kind of your experience since kind of backing out of the big crazy, and kind of, I'm assuming you're still with Robinhood.
No, I deleted the app, closed my account. I will never use them again.
Okay, really? Good. So talk to me about that. So let me give my audience a little bit of a background because my mom called me yesterday and said, "Hey, what about GameStop?" I'm like, "Jesus Christ, Mom, that was 8 months ago." And so to be clear, I wrote some stuff down. Hans, and let me see what I got here. Obviously, we can't ignore the stock market whirlwind of the last few weeks, but it's really just been like a week and a half. And we're talking about Reddit kind of originated not the company Reddit, but a page on Reddit, which is like a blogging site for my old ladies out there. People write shit and you could talk about it. Started a run on stocks for otherwise failing companies, GME being GameStop and AMC Theaters, who I thought were out of business and then we're back, and it's a big gamble. You've likely read that. Our Wall Street bets mobilized thousands of private citizens, independent investors to buy up stocks in these companies that have been targeted by short-selling hedge fund groups. And for example, like you mentioned, GME had fallen to as low as $4 at one point before, like you said, you bought it at $100 a share and sold it at something like $400 a share. Yeah. That's the level of the craziness, and that's not normal for a stock to do that. Right.
Oh, you're asking me?
No, I'm just the room. No. Just the room. Blah, blah, blah. So
no, it is not normal, sir.
Yeah. So it's kind of died off in the craziness part, but it's still very much an ideological conversation, like you were alluding to. And so you had started this kind of process on the app Robinhood, which is we call a retailer, a place for consumer level individuals like you and I to buy and trade stocks, ideally, right? It's not a completely open experience. But then they kind of bottlenecked the whole thing There's all kinds of rumors about why they did that. Some people said it was a liquidity issue. They went on TV and said it wasn't. Then it was kind of like, yeah, it was. And then this hasn't necessarily come up in court yet because I'm sure all that stuff is still working out. But basically they shut down knowing they were this major outlet for people to interact with that stock at the consumer level. They totally throttled it. And of course, I mean, the stock would have not tanked or dipped when it did if the trade had been integral the same way, especially because 51% of GameStop stockholders at the time that I read that stat, 51% of Robinhood users owned GameStop. Owned
and that
stock
makes
in
sense
GameStop.
because that's the audience that Robinhood is geared at.
Right. GameStop.
So if you built a McDonald's and you were like, I don't know where I'm going with this. So
if you took some Smuckers and you went to McDonald's, what are we talking about?
I started like, this is going to be a great metaphor, and then I got as far as McDonald's.
Yeah.
But if your main customer was like, we love cheeseburgers, we love your cheeseburger, and then suddenly everyone was coming for your cheeseburger, and then you were like, no, you can't have any more cheeseburger. I mean, that's why we're there, man.
Yeah, it's like what? No, yeah, it's like Jamie from Warrant saying, I'm not going to play cherry pie anymore. I'm like,
yes,
motherfucker, I came to River City Casino to see you play cherry pie 11 times in a row, unironically. R.I.P. I think he died.
No one gets a piece of the pie.
God damn it, Hans! Yeah. Sorry, it was my cat.
It was very like, there's a few weird storylines going on. So that one's kind of old at this point, but like,
right.
Robinhood screwed over its user base. Once bitten, everybody took off. But there's this other thing, which is like this whole movement, which has moved over to Dogecoin, cryptocurrency. Dogecoin. So everybody that got burned on GameStop through
that's the current narrative.
They kind of moved them narratively to Dogecoin. Right? And then Elon Musk was tweeting about it. It was like, well, we're going to take the power back, the people's currency, Dogecoin. So they got a bunch of people to buy Dogecoin.
I'm getting ads all the time about new apps that are letting you buy Dogecoin. And it's also, speaking of Elon Musk, and this was listed on something I wanted to talk to both you and Alfred about, assuming we have time, is that every day he's tweeting that he's going to get off Twitter, but then he tweets something else that totally blows up something in the stock market.
Yes.
Over the weekend, this last weekend, he blew up Bitcoin by like $5,000. Bitcoin closed at like 38.5 on Friday because I've been watching this stock guy on Twitch. And then I woke up Monday morning, I'm sitting on the toilet, I look in Robinhood, and it's Bitcoin is like $43,000 just over the weekend.
Yeah, I knew when I woke up one morning that he had tweeted just by looking at the graph and seeing, it spiked. And so he must have tweeted, and yes, he did.
Yeah.
But it's this weird narrative where they're trying to push it as like, this is the people's revolution. This is the people's crypto movement. But there's also all these bots and people who are just kind of spamming this, like, buy Dogecoin, because then they pump it and dump it. And so people are still going to get burned somehow. I think when it comes to this stuff, you really got to look out for yourself, because anytime you're involved in a movement where you're like, let's go, the people, and then you turn around and look behind you, then there's no one there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. So especially when it comes to money and finances, it feels like, be careful getting caught up in this stuff, because, my parents sold Amway in the 80s, and I don't know, y'all might be too young to know what Amway is.
I wasn't born yet.
It was a multi-level marketing scam, and they sold different soaps and like powders. I don't know. It was kind of like weird household stuff.
Yeah, Elon Musk tweeted today, Frodo was the under-Doge. All thought he would fail himself most of all, and it's a ring with a Bitcoin thing on it, so it's like a meme.
He's got to be stopped.
I don't know.
Wait, so is it Doge or is it Bitcoin? Because the headline there is that Tesla put $10 million of their own cash in Bitcoin, which is which is an example of a major company moving to adopt that currency as a viable option. But Dogecoin is not Bitcoin; it's a different currency. You would think if he's moving to Bitcoin that would hurt Dogecoin.
Yeah,
but is
I don't
Dogecoin
understand
even?
I don't understand cryptocurrency exactly, and that there's a lot of them, and they all have similar but different technologies. Is this what's going on? And it's a race to see who's the best, but Bitcoin's
I
the
did hear
leader,
that.
and
I mean,
everyone
like
else
part
is
of how
doing
Bitcoin works
shitcoins.
is that every single Bitcoin transaction encodes within it the information of every single other Bitcoin transaction ever. So it's
Okay.
like a save in an RPG where it takes a snapshot of all of your details, right? It takes a binary snapshot, meaning like code of everything you have currently in the game. So it doesn't have to actually save anything. It just has to recreate the environment every single time. So Bitcoin, if you have a Bitcoin, that Bitcoin, it's like the sourdough at Panera Bread. I used to work there. And every single piece of sourdough bread in that whole company is genetically related to the original starter that they used in the first store, in the first bagel and shit, right? So
I've only heard of St. Louis Bread Company.
that's same shit.
Oh.
But St. Louis bread isn't a style of thing. It's really a California style sourdough they do in there. How deep do you want to go? So, no, we don't know anything about Bitcoin or Dogecoin or crypto or its role in society. If I can't use it in Venmo to fucking buy burritos and cheesecake, I don't know. I don't know why I would need it.
No, I don't either. Except
But that's a big part of where that
I've got
market
it.
has gone. The people that have been throwing their money around in this ideological kind of exercise,
Yes.
which I'm totally for. I don't want it to sound shitty that
Yeah.
I identify it that way, but that's kind of where the frontier is right now.
Right. Yeah. It's hard for these ideological things are hard because I do believe in what they obsessively are like fighting for, but it always gets corrupted because someone's going to make money off of this. You know,
Well, or they'll
somebody's gotta be left
bottleneck.
holding the bag.
They'll bottleneck
Or
the
they'll
money
bottleneck
making.
it. Here,
Yeah.
Okay, this is the kind of idiot I am. After I got burned by Robinhood, I got out. I got an app called Voyager, which was a Dogecoin like app where I could buy that. I bought there when Dogecoin took off. One night I was sitting there and it took off. I like at the beginning of dinner, I had a certain amount of money. At the end of dinner, I had $200 extra. It was like, I don't know what's going on. But then their servers couldn't handle it. So I got like blocked out again. So again, I got screwed by an app.
Well, because it's kind of like the debate about snowplows. We're just going to make analogies all night long
Yes.
until we fucking pass out. It's going to be like a deconstructed SAT. And so what we're going to do, what was I saying?
It's like
Sourdough,
a sandwich.
Sourdough, snowplow.
Snowplow. So people always say when a school like locally we have school districts that are kind of rural that have to have a snow day because they don't have the plows and the whatnot to cover all of this massive land space of snow and ice and the manpower because they would have to keep those things maintained all year, every year. For maybe every couple of years they actually have to use them because it's not like we get pounded every year. Thanks, Al Gore. So
Yeah, I get pounded every year.
exactly. So a place like Voyager, who is some fucking third-rate retailer of single shares of stocks that fucking people are buying with their unemployment checks, they can't handle a run of literally millions of dudes trying to. And when I say dudes, I mean that in an asexual, non-binary sort of sense.
But it's mostly dudes.
But it's mostly Caucasian dudes.
Red dudes.
Just coincidentally in the stock market. Who knew? So they can't handle a run like that. It's like, Parler was like, we're going to be so free that we're going to let people conspire to murder public officials, but we're going to rent server space. And now they pulled the plug. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like you got to have the infrastructure. If you're really crazy, you'll have your own server space like Alex Jones that costs millions of dollars a year to maintain. And you fucking interview the moms of like mass shooters and shit. It's so goofy over there.
Yeah.
I want to offer a perspective.
Oh, fuck.
That might. Well, I want.
No, I want it. I want it. Give it to me.
I want to pick this apart because I think that it's still a cop out and it's still similar to what Wall Street does with relying on the ignorance of people in the stock market. So these, I guess, some people at Stanford, some professor, I guess, is weighed in on the issue and said, Robinhood made optimistic assumptions Admati said, which is
it's the guy's name.
Professor. And Tenev woke up at 3:30 a.m. and faced a public crisis with a demand from a clearinghouse to deposit money as a safety measure, hedging against risky trades. He had to get $1 billion from investors. Normally, Robinhood only has to put up $2 for every $100 to vouch for their clients. But now the whole $100 was required. Thus, trading had to be slowed down until the money could be collected. It's like you have a store, and here's an analogy.
Great.
And your product,
this is Inception analogy.
It's an analogy within an analogy, and I got screens within screens.
Right.
I'm gonna pass out.
Oh my God.
it says it's like you have a store and your product is popular, and then there's a line out the street, and they all assume they could get it, and so there's not enough product.
So there wasn't enough supply for the capacity, just like we're talking about, corporate bandwidth, right? Like the ability for the app to do what they needed to do in a way that was legal and safe.
Was to stress test that system.
So you're saying that there are reasons for cutting or for halting trade, do you think were reasonable, or do you think it was a failure?
I think they were disingenuous and they lied at first, because it was very much like the messages I got, because I went to bed, all the green line went up, I went to bed, I woke up to actually I was going to sell some, but everything was tanking, and the messages from Robinhood were like, hey, to protect you,
right,
we are not going to allow you to buy these stocks because they're too volatile and you don't know what you're doing.
Is that seriously what the message said? Let me look.
Yeah, I could probably pull it up.
It was volatility was definitely the word they used. They said
I deleted the app.
I
did
have a screenshot?
Yeah, but I deleted my account. Do I still have my messages? Yes, I do have some messages. So they were like, hey, it's a volatile time and we can't let you do this. It was very like condescending even.
Yeah.
Due to ongoing market volatility,
That's
opening new positions in certain securities is limited. Lots of messages like that.
Yeah.
I even deposited more than I meant to because of some fuckery with the app. I think it made a double deposit.
That happened to me too. I did a double deposit my first time because of either the way it was set up or whatever. So, but
and
then
this stuff comes with no training wheels. Like Robinhood, there are apps.
There are other
apps that kind of like help you, like you don't know what you don't know, and they kind of there's an app Stash, which I don't like, but it's very like it makes it hard to get money, to spend your money, all this stuff. And then there's this app Webull, which is just
I have that one too,
like day trading graphs. It looks like the Starship Enterprise.
It feels like they have to make
Bitcoin is at 48 right now. That's $10,000 since Friday.
Well, since we started talking about Dogecoin, it's dropped significantly. So
today, just now,
it's at 67. So my return is negative $40. Which
Alfred,
ow! He has a red shirt on too.
Oh my gosh, this is the.
So I do have to leave shortly, but
dude, the way Al entered was so snazzy. He was like staring.
That's not even his office. He's in his attic right now.
Oh my, yeah, right.
I think that's a blue screen, right? I can't believe I have to tell me.
Is it? You can. You have the eye. I
can
it's fake.
see it. Yeah, it's a total chroma key. Maybe.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I look like a ghost.
We're waiting for him to come on.
My mic was muted the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be the guy to say it.
No, you did. And thank you for that. No, I'm here. And yes, it's a green screen.
Yeah, I saw it. Unless your Coors was being blinked out of existence by Marty McFly somehow.
Tonight's session is brought to you by Banquet Beer. If I can get it to show up.
Banquet, the Coors.
I went straight to Banquet. I had wine with dinner instead. So
gross.
Al, how you doing since I was selling you illegal pizzas?
They were illegal the last time we talked. You'd actually gone.
Oh, is that what happened to you?
I got my life. Well, I'm out of the business now, but
you went totally legit since we first met.
I was able to say I went legit, and then now I'm out of the business. So.
I'm sad you're out of the business, to be honest. Like I will admit,
it's hard to get a good frozen pizza.
Support any restaurants like I should have through this whole pandemic.
Well, that's not why, but I think I might get back into it someday. But not now.
Keep me on your list. If the Party Bear thing ever just happens in whatever iteration, I'm totally in.
I think I'm the high bidder on a Hobart mixer from the Atomic Cowboy right now. I'll have to go look.
I'm selling one, man. Do you want one?
Oh no, I just like bidding on things.
Okay.
So, guys, Alfred, we're just wrapping up kind of our conversation about STONKS and the whole AMC thing. There's a couple things I asked Joe to pin that I wanted to ask you about that while we still have. So Chris was in the Robinhood experience at the consumer level.
I watched it real time with him.
Yeah.
And I was there with you, man, the whole time. Even though
and I was there in spirit.
I felt it.
So, Alfred, from a legal standpoint, I mean, do you think a big class action lawsuit is coming? Do you think it's possible? Do you think they're just going to get away with?
I thought they'd already been sued. I thought there was several class action suits against Robinhood pending.
But nothing's, of course, gone to trial yet.
Well, yeah, it's going to take months and months for that to happen. I mean, the relative merits of it are mixed, but it does. I mean, it's a terrible look what they did. At worst, or at best for them, at worst, they actually, engaged in some kind of market manipulation. Although it's kind of the same theory that you would apply to like a Wall Street bets market manipulation. I mean, really, you're not supposed to be in any manipulative field whatsoever if you're in any way touching on or thinking about securities. And, I think there's cases that can be made, certainly for certain individuals on Wall Street bets. But for Robinhood, what they did was just effectively to prioritize certain securities over others. And, effectively they, with some other platforms, prioritize the ability of certain investors to get into or get out of certain securities, in particular, GameStop and AMC and a few others. That it's not a good look. I would if they came to me like, we got this problem, are we okay? I would not say you're fine. I would want to do some serious looking into it and make sure that we're on the up and up, and don't do it again until we talk. Like, that would be my advice off the cuff.
Wow.
So, Joe, I saw you. Did you just have a comment?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too.
What?
So the question is, do you think these no-fee small trader apps are depending on the cheapness of the trading, couldn't handle lower-class investors representing so much money? Well, that was clearly an issue. That's what Robinhood said. That is their case.
They said we can't handle all these poor people throwing money around.
It wasn't about poor people. It was volume. It was just
it was volume of money.
They did not have the they have to front these purchases basically. So they had to go borrow on, whatever their line was to make the trades in the first place. So they said the solution to this is we see this, outsized activity in these particular stocks. We're going to shut those down because they're the source of the thing that's making it unable for us to go and make these trades in real time or as close to real time as we want to. Then they had to borrow $2 billion on their line or, get investments to do it. Mm-hmm. And they were able to get these and they get the money right back. So it really is a question of cash flow as opposed to like whether they have the wherewithal to do it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it has anything to do with class. I don't think it has anything to do with, who the investors are. I think Robinhood truly did get caught unawares by this whole thing. And as the main platform, as the main consumer platform for this, found itself it ran out of money. And,
I just meant, lower, lower class, so that they don't have as much money as these. That's what I mean.
I mean, it wouldn't matter if you had a BlackRock.
Hold on, hold the fuck on. Did you just stop the show to say, well, lower class people, they don't have as much money?
I was trying to correct what I was saying.
Did you just correct a lawyer?
Lower class, I think, has a negative implication. That's not what I meant.
If this was a room on Clubhouse, I'd call it mansplaining 2021.
Mansplaining dads.
This whole show is
level
just
course.
Clockwise mansplain.
Yeah, we have 3 generations of mansplainers in here. Great. So one thing that I don't know how much we want to get into, but while I have you both here, I know that there is some drama heating up in the St. Louis mayoral kind of campaign because of Lyda Cruson has decided to die like the lion from Chronicles of Narnia and just retire. And so there's going to be a seat open, and I understand that that you guys know of the candidates and wanted to talk about them a little bit? This is per Alfred's request. I'm going to pee while you guys start that.
Well, I will say that,
pee.
I mean, the clear favorites based on the polling are Lewis Reed and Tishwara Jones, right? Like that's what they're, if you put money on candidates, you've got Kara Spencer, who is a clearly, I don't want to call her a dark horse, but sort of the insurgent here. Right. Both the other candidates have run for mayor in the past. They've shown up. So Chris, I know you're a big Kara,
I am.
booster.
I'm helping Kara out with some not messaging things, just some things here and there. They have some questions about.
How does she turn out? And I'm not a city voter, so I can't even turn out to vote for her. I would, but how does she turn out people to sort of buck that common wisdom?
Yeah, it's tough because it's already a popularity contest, and my two favorites are Kara and Tishara, and I'm glad they get to run on that ballot, and they're going to get to hopefully square off against each other. I think Lewis Reed has got to get out of the way. I don't like the guy. He's kind of like Lyda Cruz in Part 2.
Yeah.
He's good. I love that skateboard meme of him.
What makes him?
I sent it to one of my lawyer friends who's a lobbyist who's close to him, and we both got a kick out of that.
What does that mean? Is that a job?
There are lobbyists who are jobs. We actually, we have always, my law firm has always had a lobbyist who is a lawyer who, you don't have to be a lawyer to be a lobbyist, but having a lawyer who is a lobbyist is a good thing. But it's actually my partner, David Sweeney, who used to be the counselor for the Board of Aldermen before he went into private practice. So he knows all of these players really well. But he's a big Lewis Reed supporter, and I respect that.
Oh, he left a thing on my door with his face on it. Lewis Reed did. Yeah.
What was it? Lewis Reed's pro skater too, or what? Because that's the best thing I've ever seen.
I made that.
It was. I forwarded it to him, so it's definitely hit Lewis's inbox between us somehow.
So
that was
Alfred,
a Saturday morning well spent.
So Alfred's going to come on my podcast. He's going to wear a Chaminade pullover. He's going to talk about all the mayoral candidates he knows personally.
Yeah. I don't know Lewis or Tishwara personally. I may have met.
I think it's Tishara.
Tishara? See, I don't even know how to say her name.
I don't think there's a Schwa.
Yeah. I have a Tishara Jones story.
Tishara.
But I have to transition out of here.
No, I figured that would happen.
I have to go back to my home planet.
No, but, I really, really appreciate your insight. I'm going to pick up some of the stuff in the weeds with Alfred here. And and I'd love to see you again in the future.
Yeah, I would love to. It's just been good to talk to you and see you.
I know, your face and your stained glass. You got to see my new house. I have stained glass too. It's so great. And just COVID's made it really hard.
Is that your basement?
I am in a basement.
It
kind of looks like a boat. They kind of have wood on the ceiling like that. So
I miss jamming in the basement.
I know, it's so nice down here now. I got a Roomba and a pool table. It's crazy.
Roomba's key.
Yeah.
When we're all vaccinated, we need to have a jam session.
When this whole thing's over, you and me got to get an apartment together. Chris, I love you. Thank you so much. You're dismissed at any point, sir.
See you,
all right. See you, Al.
And Al, good evening, brother. How are you?
It's another day in paradise.
My goodness. You may see my brother-in-law at some point. So we started off the show, I don't know if you were listening, talking about our there's a generational divide emerging as Gen
Between
Z.
you and John?
No. Sam is the younger one.
Oh, I've never met Sam. I know John.
He was at the wedding. He was the young one with the baby face vaping.
I might have. I started drinking early and often at your wedding. So
no, it was great. He was. He's lovely. He's really, really fantastic. He's a lot like my wife, so we get along great. And but now it's blowing up that Gen Z is calling out millennials like myself for things that we still like. That is, but because apparently
I saw your post on this.
They're old enough now that we can fight with the older ones on the internet. If they're 18 plus, we can argue with them and call them names. And so they're starting to kind of reach out in a way that they didn't before.
So where is Gen Z cut off? Because I need to figure out
I think the oldest Gen Z kids are 21. I think
what's the youngest cohort though? This is
I think they're all the way down right now. I mean,
no, I don't think so. I think there's
what do you call your kids?
Well, that's my question. That's exactly where I'm going with this. So I've got a 13-year-old. I'm pretty sure he's to Gen Z what I am to Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm 1978, so I'm almost like an Xennial, but I'm really more X than millennial.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, like there's some Xers that are more like boomers, and we're not
Absolutely.
that.
My mom is like that. My mom graduated high school in 86, but you would think she was 106 now.
Right. Like I'm 10 years younger because I
Yeah.
was 96. But
Yeah.
but that's like those people. They were into like
Oh, you're
Kaja
Zaz
Gugu
age.
and fucking Flock of Seagulls and shit.
Oh,
And they
my
had,
mom
like-
hated
like
that shit. My mom was all about AC/DC and White
See,
Snake.
your mom is cool, but you hear what I'm saying. Like that was what was going on. Like that was like some alien planet when I was like around during that period of time. And then
Great.
anyway, so my 13-year-old I feel like is Gen Z, but I've got a 3-year-old. He's not Gen Z. Like where do the 3 and 5-year-old fit in? They're like some generation that hasn't even been defined yet.
Right, because they don't do anything. They're a protected class still.
So, but I got my daughter's 10. Like I'm not sure she's Z. She's like some next thing. Like you can kind of see it coming.
Yeah. That's
But,
crazy.
Clearly more in common with
Because there's
like,
11 years between me and Sam, and so there's that gap. And so I'm trying to think about how much time would be between. I mean, so yeah, like kids that are like 8, 9, 10 are going to probably be a different thing.
Yeah, they're like Z+1, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Z.2.
I can't honestly as a
They'll probably just be Mad Max by that point. When they start to be adults, they're going to be the ones that are going to eat me.
It's gonna be like, I'm sorry, there is no clean water anymore. Like this is
We don't have clean water, knife in the throat.
yeah, it is only it's spear combat for whatever resources exist.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
you got a whole tribe over there too. It's gonna be
Well,
be
that's
Lord
I'm
of the
gonna,
Ludwigs.
we're the left wing quiverfuls here. Like it's all I can do.
I don't know what that means.
Quiverfuls is like you have a bunch of kids because each one of them is an arrow in your full quiver for the righteousness of God, and like you're doing this
Really?
to storm the Capitol and declare
Jesus.
fascism in the name of Jesus. Like that is the quiverful movement.
That's beautiful.
Right.
My
That's-
Uncle Don.
That's
is
one of those
Don.
things where like George W. Bush would hear that and not know that it sounded like a scary bad thing. He'd be like, "Amen, brother."
Well, I mean, right. It was.
That
it
is
was.
fucking funny.
A lot of people didn't think it was a scary bad thing, and then January 6th happened, and there's still a lot of people that are like, "Yeah, that's."
Hey,
that's
have you heard about March 4th?
Oh, that's when Donald Trump's supposed to take over again.
Apparently, that's when
That's
we are
the
going to
cue,
be
yeah.
restored back into
Right.
a real republic.
Is that the Ides of March?
No, that's usually the 15th.
Okay. See, look at you. You know something. That's
Empire
good.
Strikes Back.
I'm the one that knows stuff. What are you talking about?
Sorry.
So,
I'm sorry.
back to the whole millennial versus Gen Z thing. Like, I'm as an Xennial or Gen X, whatever you want to call me.
That's kind of what Chris identified as too.
Like, no one has ever picked a beef with us, so fuck you both. Is
You
how
guys are
I feel
busy
about it.
actually like working and paying taxes. I
Well,
think.
here's the thing: is like we got looked over when the boomers were important, and during the '90s, like you were just like whatever, and then the millennials came along. It's like who's X? Who cares? Like we were like the first who cares generation that was like very very much the tune in, turn on, drop out whole mode of operation, and
Yeah, this is
nobody
whack.
cared what we thought ever.
Whack. Yeah, so I'm reading this headline. QAnon conspiracy theories point followers to March 4th, second inauguration. So the whole thing I heard about earlier is that there's people on the internet that are saying, and they're attributing it as a QAnon sentiment, whatever that means, and saying that we used to be a real republic, and then we got sold out to corporations, and it's all being puppeteered by the globalist agenda. And on March 4th, we're going to shatter the corporate overlords, and we're going to inaugurate President Donald Trump, and he's going to be like the 15th president because we
Right.
actually didn't have a real one. We had 30 fake ones because we got
somehow
sold out.
These are all fake presidents.
Yeah, we had a
And
bunch of
everybody
fake
just
corporate
moves on from that.
shills. Yeah.
Like that's not a thing anyone questions. It's just like, yeah, it's the 15th president. Like no one stops to say, wait, what? But then we're all on to the next thing, which apparently is the blood of the Democrats, running in the streets.
Is that what they want?
I think
What?
so. It's what they say it. I at this point I kind of take them at their word.
I mean, they're not subtle.
Oh, no, and they
So-
actually did show up to try and overthrow the government.
Yeah, they were like, and then they did literally shit all over the building.
That literally happened.
Actual shit. Joe, I'm not opening links. If you want to give me the fucking headline.
I just want to be. I could read it. I don't want to interrupt.
What? No. What do you got?
By all means, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's better. I could just do the headline. Democrats plead for bipartisanship as the Republicans call for blood.
I mean, that is where we are as a country. You know, not that I think there are some Democrats waking up. You know, there's a whole concept of like
it's called woke.
40% of Republicans would advocate political violence against Democrats, and that was like today's or yesterday's headline. What was sort of buried there was like it was like 25% of Democrats also kind of feel the same way. And at this point, I don't think I can blame anyone on the left for feeling like the right wing is their enemy, because the right wing has been telling them that they're their enemy for like 25 years. So at this point, like if someone tells you like, I hate you and I would kill you if I was legally able to get away with it, you start believing them.
Yeah, you got to start listening a little bit. But I'm one of those. I'm so far left. You know, they say you go so far left, you get your guns back. You know what I mean? If you go far enough. And
I've always had guns. So
I have a friend that I've talked to about being on the show who I really love, who's a musician, but also sort of an activist and a very kind of living the message kind of guy. And he's a big advocate for minority gun ownership.
Absolutely.
And things like that I think are probably a good idea.
I think we ceded the gun issue to the right wing. And let's be honest, like any thinking person realizes everyone having guns is not the best answer compared to no one having guns. But the reality is everyone already has guns. So in the scenario where it's like you could either be the one person without the guns where everybody has guns, or you could also have a gun. Also having a gun is the obvious answer.
Yeah, just in case.
I mean,
I really don't want to have to shoot somebody.
No, I have no interest in shooting a person.
No.
But I also have less interest in being shot by a person, and knowing how guns work. You know, it's one of the things as kids, having kids, like it's a whole thing. Like, do you have guns around kids? Like, I do not. My oldest son is a scout. He's been trained a little bit, but it's like one of the things is like I grew up learning how to make ammo, learning how to shoot, treating it
really
like cool it was. Yeah, we tumbled ammo, old shells in my basement as a kid.
That's cool. That's good to know.
It is not.
Man,
cool.
you're handy.
It is super fucking boring and tedious.
No. I know, but it's good that you know how to do that, because I'm going to need you to do that if we run out.
Well, so it's been 35 years since I've touched anything.
Look,
like
bitch,
that,
you'll figure it out.
I do know the basics at least, but I mean, there's a lot of science to it. There's a lot of engineering.
Joe's going to have to gather the shell casings, and you're going to have to tumble them. I don't know what else to tell you.
You'll see those guys at the range like, can I have your shell casings? Like,
why am I
fucking take them.
Because I'm shooting the zombies that are trying to eat us, Joe. God! And when I say zombies, I mean they could be Cheesecake Factory zombies. It could be My Pillow zombies.
We should all learn to shoot, is my point. Like, you should all be familiar with it. You should know. I mean,
you should also know how to make yourself an omelet. I mean, what if you get hungry?
I totally agree with that. I taught my kids how to make omelets before I taught them how to shoot.
That's beautiful.
I mean, it's the right order of operations there. But
omelets and then guns.
Not before omelets.
Sorry?
That was in the Bible.
What, omelets and then guns?
You must first teach a man to crack egg before.
Why does it have to be one egg? He must crack egg.
Before crack skull.
He must crack egg before skull. This is not the caveman Bible, Joe.
There are many different translations.
Someone said you must not crack egg in Bible.
No.
They didn't say it like that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and pull that up? Is that Leviticus?
It's
Leviticus
right,
8.
Leviticus.
Guys, we have our Zoomer on deck, baby. Listen,
Yo.
I really appreciate you doing this. I know it was hard to get you in here. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Did you get the meme I sent you?
Yeah, I got the meme. I haven't read it, but I took a look.
Do you mind?
I don't know what the fuck I'm about to read.
Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna put the meme on the screen here, and it's just a caption of the meme, And it's really just something I wanted to get your opinion on. So we've been talking on the show a little bit, just because this has come up on social mediums, that you're really the only Gen Z person that I feel like I'm allowed to put on the podcast. Right?
Yeah,
so
that's cool. I heard you guys talking earlier.
Okay,
So,
good.
I mean,
So you
I'd
get
love to put my input
but
in.
I just want to know where this kind of thing comes from. And, we have now 3 generations of fucking white dudes in the chat right now.
That's pretty uneventful. That's
You know what I
super,
mean? It's so
super
whack.
normal.
And so I need you to check my vibe, bro. And
Okay.
great. So I'm looking at this meme here that Joe that I sent to Sammy, and it says the anatomy of an old person, and there's that old person there. She's not that old.
Can you post this? We need to see it.
I will. Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I'm going to send it to Joe. Joe's going to put it in the chat.
I got it.
But if you could go ahead,
Cool.
Should
I read the caption?
please.
Aging millennials are characterized by their love of things like skinny jeans, wine, and the laughing crying emoji. Many millennials like this one are in a state of discomfort regarding their proximity of middle age.
To middle age, yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay, so
What's wrong with this chick?
well, I think it's somebody claiming to be your age made it and is saying that that's the typical millennial and that we're all getting old and that it's not cool to like skinny jeans. Do you wear skinny jeans?
I wear skinny jeans every single day of my life.
Me too. Okay, so good. See, it's not everybody. It's not everybody.
No,
I
heard earlier you guys were talking about like I feel like I'm in a bit of a gray area at my age. Like,
well, you're probably one of the
I don't
older.
know, I feel like I relate to
You're
a
like
lot
a
of
Zennial.
Well, also your siblings.
like late millennial, early Gen Z kids. Like even like kids like dudes older than me.
I think the cutoff is
are
definitely
a lot
9/11.
like
When was your
millennials.
birthday?
2002.
Yeah, so I think
I
you're
mean, I was
definitely
born
in that
right after.
category because you don't remember the world pre 9/11. I think is how a lot of people describe it on the internet. But not that
He
matters.
didn't actually live pre 9/11. Like
Right,
he was
exactly.
literally born after.
Because he
that.
wasn't there.
I definitely don't remember anything.
But your siblings are older. I'm married
Well-
to your sister who's 30. She's obviously a millennial. And then your older brother is one of
Yeah.
my dear best friends, and he's a younger millennial. He's closer to Joe's age. How old's John now? John's-
26.
Yeah, okay, so he's a little older than Joe
Maybe
even.
27.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you and your friends may joke about people that might be like our age? Like, did you guys read Harry Potter growing up? That's one of the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You read Harry
I
Potter.
mean, like, I'm telling you, like, we still got taught cursive, and like we had super shitty TVs in the corner of our classroom. Like that was what we had in our classroom.
You
for,
had
like,
TVs in
technology,
your
all
classroom?
that stuff.
Oh,
like,
I
when
had
was-
TVs.
Yeah, we had. I mean, like not like a smart board or like
No, they
a
had these
fucking
terrible TVs they would
4K
use for the
smart
announcements
TV
and
hooked
shit.
up to
Yeah.
an iPad or anything. But
No,
I mean,
yeah.
like that's what I had. In
They
high
weren't
school,
even
so.
flat when I was there. They had the big
Exactly. It was
honking
just one
tubular
TV in the
motherfuckers.
corner that like waved the American flag every morning, and we had to put our hands.
Yeah, they would
to
put it on. They would put like a GIF of the American flag waving on the screen for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So you ever see the Wonder Years? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I watched the Wonder Years on Nick at Night when I
The
was a
reel to
child.
reel, like where it's literally like tape moving between two wheels on a thing. Like that was my version of a TV in the classroom when I was growing up.
They had projectors, like film
we
projectors.
had literally like for the film projector was like the good day. Like the bad day was like you just had like the shitty slide projector,
with the glass.
Still picture.
I remember projectors in middle or in elementary school.
You're thinking like an overhead projector though,
Oh, that's New Wave?
where they had that's newer. They had the clear
We had
laminate.
those in middle school. That was like a tool though, like where they would like write on it, like what was
Nice.
like literally a
Right.
movie. It was like a projector, like an old school movie projector,
like an
except for-
8mm fucking film
Precisely.
projector.
Oh,
And that was
sure.
like-
And they would like sit in the back of the class and project something in the front, right?
You've seen it in
Okay, I know what
movies.
you're talking about.
It was a real thing. Like
Yeah.
that was our life.
I'm a fuck with you.
Yeah.
We got TVs, like we got tube TVs in the rooms in high school. Like that was like in the 90s. Like that was like, okay, now we're with it. And you
Yeah.
guys probably didn't have channel 1.
I had Channel
No.
3.
like Sway and Serena Altschul, like it was like an MTV production. Like they got their like start on this thing called Channel 1. It was like 8 minutes of like advertising that they'd pump into your classroom to pay for the satellite connection so the school could get the TVs. Like they paid.
No
the
fucking way.
It was how they did it. It was like commercializing.
That's
like,
hilarious.
we had a Channel 1 like minute or like 10-minute period like every day in high school. Where it was like
That is
you know,
that's
That was
5
the
minutes of that was Mountain Dew.
That's like the
and the other
YouTube
5
ad.
minutes of it was
That's
like
the YouTube ad. It's
MTV
your version.
News.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was when I'd wake up too early for even like music videos in the morning, and I would have to watch what the cable company called paid programming, and it would be like the Magic Bullet
Arthur.
and shit, or like the Sham Wow, but it'd be like 30 minutes about the Sham Wow.
The Thanks Obama commercial.
It's before that, but yeah, I mean, like goofy shit like that. Like that's great. So Sam, you're saying I can keep wearing my skinny jeans?
Oh yeah, you're all good, dude. I love the skinny jeans.
So they're
great.
not out yet?
I
Like,
mean,
that's
for
the
a big
thing?
guy, I think it's perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Because as a big guy, like when I used to wear boot cuts.
I don't know. I'm telling you, like literally, like kids I went to high school with, like 2 years younger than me, were like joning on me for wearing skinny jeans, and they couldn't believe I wore jeans.
So
Like, when I
maybe
was
you're too
younger,
old.
I would not have touched jeans. Jeans are pretty. I feel like no one wears jeans my age, really. I
What?
think I'm.
What do
I'm-
they
I'm a
wear?
bit
What's
of
the
an
alternative?
Holy fuck!
Oh my!
Didn't you
oh,
see
God.
Idiocracy?
Like
The
What do you-
silky sweatpant things.
Oh, is it all trainers?
there's.
It's all jerseys.
It's really just like a bunch of different stuff. Just anything other than jeans.
Like
A lot of
like
I don't know,
khakis
cargo
or
pants,
like
some like khakis. Like my friends and stuff, like they
Khakis.
fuck yeah.
that when I was in high
Holy
school, like
fuck.
it was we went straight
I
from
get
Jenkos
joned
to
on by my
khakis.
friends for wearing jeans. That's all I know. So it's pretty much anything other than jeans.
Hey, Sam,
Yeah.
what is your image of an ideal like future? Like when you think about your life
Oh,
and,
that's a good question.
your like,
You mean for him or for like civilization?
well, no, from in his imagination when he thinks about the future is like, if everything went my way,
Would
in
skinny
your
jeans be a
life,
factor?
where would and you can't be like a mansion or anything. If think about a reasonable
No,
future.
I know. I have a perfect answer to this question. I mean, my whole thing has always been like I don't want to do something for a living that I don't like. Like I don't want to hate my job. Basically, that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah, I fucked
end
up
goal.
on that one.
We all did, buddy.
I
But
fucked
I mean,
up on that
I feel
one.
like it could go a couple ways, right? Like, I think a lot of kids like my age or like when they're going into college, all they want to do is just find something that they can do and make as much money doing it. You know what I mean?
What about
Um,
retirement?
Retirement.
Do you think about retirement?
I'm not thinking about retirement yet. No.
I
Not
do.
at all.
Do you think it's realistic to worry about? Because when I was your age, I literally felt like I was in my second year of teacher school, and I was really wanting to just not do that. And I thought, no, I have to get a degree on time, and I have to get a degree in a field where I can eventually retire. So that's not on your radar.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have
I
friends
mean,
that
me
think about that?
personally, not at all. Like,
Where
I
are
mean,
you at in
definitely.
life?
Like, that's just.
Like
Leave him
actually,
al-
honestly.
you leave him alone.
Oh, you
No,
want to
I'm just-
know?
like,
I mean,
what-
right now it's pretty rough.
No, I get it. It's a rough year. But I mean, how old are you? 21?
Right.
No, he's 19.
You're 19. Well,
19.
shit. I mean, I was fucking worthless when I was 19.
I bet you were almost in Puddle of Mud.
I almost was in Puddle of Mud. I
Right.
turned down being in Puddle of Mud.
Great.
What are the amenities?
Yeah, no, I'm just living with my parents. I don't have a job, so
I love it.
nothing is going on right now.
I was actually working at a restaurant with Kara Spencer when I was 19.
Kara Spencer's the mayoral candidate we were talking about earlier. So
That is. I was a kitchen
Wow.
boy and she was a waitress.
you were a kitchen boy?
I was a kitchen boy.
Did you have a badge that said Al Ludwig, kitchen boy?
I was a kitchen boy at multiple institutions.
I
over the
would
course
never
of years.
identify
What the fuck is a
myself as
kitchen
something
boy?
boy. Like
Fuck,
you had a
man.
job where you wanted to.
You
I'm
do
saying,
dishes
yeah, I'm a
anywhere
kid-
for any amount of time, you become a kitchen boy. It's just who you are.
But I did
in your
dishes.
blood.
But I was
It's
a
just you're the
dishwasher.
bitch. If anyone needs you to do a job they don't want to do, that's you.
I'm
Wow.
still that. I'm a lawyer, and that's what I do now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Damn.
Sam, we're gonna get back into a conversation about some of our whack shit, so I can dismiss you. But I so appreciate your time,
The
and I'd love to
stonks.
have you on with your siblings again. We'll talk, or not again, but for the
Sure,
first
okay.
time with
Yeah,
both of them.
we
I think
should-
it would
we
be
should
fun to
play
have all
some
three.
games too, Jake.
Oh God,
Yeah,
yeah!
we should play
I
some
just
games,
downloaded
too.
Rust. I got Rust uploaded
I want in on some
finally.
Rust. If you guys
Bro,
are doing Rust.
Yeah. I think
okay, yeah, no, I'm down for Rust for sure, and then I want you to try Valorant, and then I might get back into Apex too. I don't know.
Apex looks really beautiful
So,
right now. It's a lot of fun, but also the I'm gonna download Valorant because I heard it was free. But yeah, I'll let you
that
go,
Viking
player.
game. Have you guys
You
heard
are
about
fucking cracked, dude. Wait.
Me?
I just went on one of I saw a clip on your Instagram of you playing Apex, and you were like sliding down a hill, and you tracked this dude with your fucking controller perfectly. It was
Oh,
crazy.
dude, that
He's
was
got
beautiful.
aimbots.
I wanna play
He's got
with you.
aimbots.
There's
Don't
no
let him fool you.
aimbot. Aimbots. They use the
This
panda
motherfucker's a
anti
cheater.
cheat.
This guy,
Are you guys code
he's
switching?
not savvy enough to have an aimbot. I know that for sure.
I don't know how to do. I
You're
can
probably
hardly
right
keep
about
this program open.
Yeah.
How are we doing, by the way?
All
How-
right, guys. Well, it's good to meet you, Joe and Al.
You too, Sam.
And thanks, Jake.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, buddy.
Peace
Thanks
out,
for
guys.
that. Thanks for the plug, bruh.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, zip it up and zip it out.
So let's talk about the Viking game. Have you
I
seen
like
this? I
it.
forget what it's called.
What?
But it's some like procedural generated Rust-like Vikings game. Like you're in Valhalla or some shit.
That sounds hot as fuck.
I'm saying it looked like
I'm
Rust
so
except
hard
good.
right now.
Like Rust is still rough around the edges.
No, it looks it. Yeah. Anyway, that's crazy. His plug for the Instagram and for the gaming side of the business, Joe. I didn't even ask him to do that.
Did he plug all that went right over my head? It started saying all these crazy words. That
No, well, that's how they talk. But these are the people I work with, so I picked
I
up on
got a
some of it.
13-year-old, so I got to keep up with this shit.
he
So
was like, "You
he
are
was saying,
cracked." I was
I'm
like,
cracked
"What?"
means I'm good at it. Joe has no gaming experience.
Are you a sweat?
Oh,
No, I'm
sweat.
not that sweaty. I did get sweated today pretty hard though by some noobs. I'll tell you that for nothing.
How'd you get sweated by some noobs?
Because I wasn't playing ranked. Because I was just playing locked and loaded duos. Because
You play with a pickup?
like a rando, yeah.
Yeah.
We call those randos, Grandpa.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You guys need to give me
old
some
school.
material
They
to
were
work with for
pickup
clips.
group.
Yeah, if
A
you're
PG.
playing jacks at the soda fountain, it's a pickup. If you just pull a hey mister and ask somebody to play jacks with you at the soda fountain. So
Shut
Al,
the
we
fuck
had.
up. You're an old man now, millennial. You
I
can
know.
barely wear skinny jeans.
I know. I thank God he's. You know what? That's really what I was really upset about was skinny jeans because that's really. I fuck Harry Potter. I didn't even read the last two because
I read Harry
moved on
Potter before that kid was born.
before Sam was born.
Yes.
Yeah, I read the first couple for sure by then. Oh, I finished the fifth one before he was born. That's
Nah, 2002.
that makes me feel older than
I don't
Dick.
think anything before about.
The fourth
Maybe
one.
the
It was
fourth
Goblet.
one
It
was
was
out.
Goblet of Fire. I finished the fourth one before he was born.
Because the
fifth
first
one,
movie was out before then.
yeah. But I quit after the fourth one because I moved on to other stuff, I guess.
If you want to have an entire podcast about fantasy novels,
Getting cracked.
My wife will do that with you any day of the week. My wife is the biggest. I want her to write a great fantasy piece because that's all she reads is high fantasy and
so my master's thesis is a fantasy novel.
what?
It is what I got my master's degree in English.
Oh yeah.
And my thesis was I wrote a fantasy novel because I was super into Game of Thrones in 2002, the year Sam was born, when I got my master's degree. And I basically wrote a shitty Game of Thrones clone for my master's thesis. And then I did nothing with that for the rest of my life.
That's hilarious.
It
Well-
is sad, and I can tell by the silence how sad it is.
What I love about
Well,
that
people
is
don't read books, so it's good that you got out of that game. Because I mean, people are all like, "Oh, everyone in the Trump White House is going to get a book deal." I'm like, people don't know how to read. They're not going to be buying books.
There's some great authors out there that belie that untruth.
That reminds me. You need to help me with this. You can
Oh, you're
help
still
me with
working
this
on Huck
Huckleberry
Finn over
Finn
there?
thing.
God damn.
It's just.
Are you reading the abridged version that no longer has that's N-word, Jim?
I think there's a bridge in it. I don't know. It's
So there's a
complicated.
published like redacted version that
Yeah,
takes out all of the racial
Abridged.
slurs.
He said abridged,
I said
Joe,
abridged,
as
man.
which is like a verb.
oh.
It's that's a.
It's actually quite a controversy in academia whether or not to
Because they
Orwellian.
removed the N word from it.
right, like whether that's like the power of the word, because Twain was no stranger to the ugliness of what he was saying, right? Like it wasn't done
That was kind of the point.
in ignorance. I think it was, and it has power. in this time in particular to read it. It's ugly as shit, and yet like there's still this tale of like camaraderie between Jim and Huck going down the river that transcends that, and to defang the word. I mean, there's a real debate in academia as to whether it's a good thing to sort of move on from it or to let it exist in all of its timely ugliness. And I tend to fall into the latter category. Although I don't think as a white professor of English, I would ever be saying the word in class. You know, freedom of speech being what it is.
That's
yes,
also the thing.
Yeah, every other university is that one professor.
I'm just saying it because it's in the text. It's in the text.
Yeah.
No, like
awesome.
I don't need to. I can say N-word very easily.
Yeah, that's true. Great. So that took a weird turn. So Joe, does that help with your class?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up on Google.
What does that mean? What do you need to look? Ask me a question. Ask me a question about Huckleberry Finn. What are you struggling with?
I'm just kidding. I'm not actually studying Huck Finn.
Joe put some stuff in the show prep here that Al, we wanted to follow up with you on because this is our STONKS episode of the show.
All right, is this going to be like the lightning round?
This is going to be the lightning round.
All right, hit me with the lightning round
for $100. So what would be a reason for holding on to one of the symbols associated with stonks, being GameStop, AMC, etc., and why are celebrities like Mavericks owner Mark Cuban telling people to hold the line even still?
Okay, there's two answers to that because it's two questions. First question, what would be the reasons to hold on to it? You have twofold. One is vanity, because you wanted to be a part of this movement and you get entertainment out of it. Yes. And that would be, your monetary value was in the original buy. You've gotten your value by buying it and being part of the movement. The residual value to you is unimportant. That's a reason to hold on to it. Other reason to hold on to it is that you're actually a market manipulator and you're counting on this thing getting up to a point where you feel like you can get out and get your money back, but you're actively engaged in telling other people to buy into it so that you can profit off their misery. Those are your two options.
He thinks it's going to go back up, I guess.
Who? Mark Cuban?
Mark Cuban.
He could also just be trying to test his own influence.
Well,
that's true.
For him, it's not about money because he has enough. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
So it's probably a vanity thing for him. And that's answer one.
Because he says Elon Musk can tweet one word and influence the market, and his Elon Musk stock is artificially inflated. So Mark Cuban's like, well, maybe I could say something and do a thing.
Elon is actually a Bond villain, and that's what everybody forgets about him.
Right.
So this is the question that I wanted to ask you about him. So why does Elon Musk have so much market influence? What if he dies? And if is it solely because of his celebrity status? Shouldn't this be a discussion about how much power celebrities have over the market and in turn the country? Because everyone who's actually in charge of anything seems to care about the stock market.
I'm tempted to jump to the chase and say, well, what are you going to do about it? Exactly?
Well, that's the thing.
How are you going to stop someone from having influence by being who they are, right?
But so Tesla, last time I looked, was trading at $800 something a share. If he dies, what happens to that price?
Oh, it fucking goes through the floor. He is a cult of personality just like Trump in his own ways, only he's a smart, rational one most of the time.
Is that what happened to Apple?
Well, Apple actually has assets. Tesla actually has assets. Bitcoin goes through the floor if Elon dies, right?
Really?
Like, Bitcoin isn't a real thing.
Bitcoin is up 10 grand last week.
It was up like 18 grand over Tesla's investment in it.
Wow.
Purely based upon the idea that someone else will keep buying it for more. There is no value inherent to Bitcoin, period. It is a fiction. It is just you are buying faith that other people will buy it at some point in the future.
Like all monetary devices.
Well, no, beyond that. Like you have the dollar has the full faith and credit of the United States government for all of its power and splendor and whatnot. Bitcoin is a fictional fucking thing that's based on the magic of blockchain, for which cryptocurrency is actually the least efficient and worst use of the technology that blockchain entails.
Right.
Blockchain is just this thing that keeps it scarce. That's really what it is. So like Elon dies tomorrow. Tesla has assets. SpaceX is iffy at best because they don't really have a proven revenue stream. They've got some technology. They can maybe monetize that, but not to the degree that it's worth. like the Boring Company, I don't think exists without Elon.
Yeah, no.
But
There's a handful. There's a blanket of companies that would definitely dissolve.
Tesla has real assets, so it's more analogous to Apple in that regard. Whereas like Steve Jobs, yes, he was a cult of personality, but he left behind a company that was highly, it had a lot of things going on. It had a lot of revenue,
Yeah.
it had a lot of assets, it had a lot of technology, it had a lot of IP. These are the real things that, as a stock investor, such as I am, I look for in a company that I want to buy into. Like, what am I valuing here? What is, like, everybody dies. What am I left with? If I have to liquidate, the company, does my stock have residual value net of the debt that the company is in? I don't know what Tesla's debt situation is. My sense is it's probably pretty leveraged. But
Do you think? Sorry, I'm sorry. Well, do you think that this is like the new standard for business models? Because I think what's so interesting about Tesla is that it's heavily government subsidized, and so like, and the fact that the government would put so much money into something that's like being led by this kind of charismatic young guy, it's just funny to me. Do you think that in the future we'll see like a lot of like government subsidized, companies that are like headed by these like very charismatic people? Like that's going to be a central part of companies now?
If you see the look on my face, what I'm trying to say with that is, oh sweet summer child, that is the market. That is
Right.
Today. That is the situation. Elon is just a very public version of that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there are entire industries that run on the idea of not charisma so much as connection and the
Right.
ability to leverage taxpayer dollars in a way that gets me in the government contract. There are many, many industries, and I speak from experience in the weeds on some of this. The amount of, if you can get on the government dole, it's a very tricky place to be because the requirements to do it right are onerous. And
Right.
it favors those who are sophisticated and have a lot of resources to pay people like me to make sure that they're not getting sideways with some regulation.
Right.
And the little guy is the one who is absolutely priced out of that entire market. The spigot is turned off to those
The
who
what?
can't. The spigot
With a G?
with a G.
I thought it was spigot.
You can call it a spigot, but spigot is an older form and it's the right form.
Oh.
As the guy with a master's degree in English.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, motherfucker. I didn't know.
Anyway, like the little guy, I mean, that's what big government dollars with lots of regulation. I will agree with the right wing. I will agree with Republicans on this point that
Really?
over-regulation favors large market players over small businesses.
Yeah, people that can afford to weed through the fine print
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and make money anyway.
This is the right-wing pig found an acorn once in a while. It's a blind pig, and it does it once a year. But this is one where they are right, and California has its issues in this regard. And then when they call it the People's Republic of California, this is the shit they're talking about, is that they price out the little guy because the cost of doing business, the barriers to entry in economic terms are very high.
Yeah.
And when everything runs on government money and government regulation is onerous and requires a lot of expertise, and you need a team of lawyers to teach you and make sure you're doing it right at every stage, it's great for the lawyers, but the sole proprietorship business absolutely cannot compete in that market.
Right.
How much of that backlash is done? And I'm talking about, I posted this when Trump got elected. It was some excerpt from some great piece of literature that was published in the much long before he was president, that was all about how eventually the masses are going to get tired of listening to lawyers and academics about everything, and they're gonna start some shit, like maybe elect a reality TV show host to president,
or storm the Capitol.
How much of the bad optics of QAnon and storming the Capitol now is going to kill off that movement of that? Because I don't think the dumb people are going to quit being dumb because they look dumb right now.
No, this election, we talked about it in an earlier podcast. This election proved one thing, is that there are two countries here, and one of them is fucking stupid, and there are a lot of them that are a part of it, and they're not going anywhere.
And are they growing?
I don't think so.
You don't think the group is growing?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I think they're shrinking, but they're just loud, obnoxious assholes who will.
Why
get
would they
in
be
everyone's
shrinking?
face. Well, because there's people. Look, 4 years ago, to declare yourself as a proud Republican wasn't like a political statement, right? It was like, this is my neighborhood, and like I'm a white person of means. Of course, I'm a Republican. I stand for Republican values. You stand up today and say I'm a proud Republican, you're saying the rule of law is a fucking piece of shit, and I don't care about it. What I care about is winning and rubbing everyone who doesn't agree with me's face in the mud over my ability to rule over them, despite the fact that I don't command a majority of the vote in this country, and most people don't agree with me. Yeah. I want to rule despite everyone hating me. That's what being a Republican is today. 4 years ago, that wasn't the truth. That drove some people away.
Where do they go?
Well, nowhere, and I'm not sure they're going to vote Democrat. You know,
right.
Enough of them showed up to vote against Trump to put Biden in the White House, but they also barely were able to get the Senate out of Republican control, and that was disturbing.
That's the thing. It's just like it was still such a close race, considering how they both.
It was all about Trump. I don't think those people, the ones who flipped on Trump, associated the Republican brand with Trump. And I think that is changing now. And I think that's what the impeachment is all about, is to say, okay, Republicans, you're either gonna cast this out or you're gonna own it. And it's very, very clear. They're gonna own it. They're gonna become the party of Trump. They're gonna say, you know what? A guy who basically starts a fascist push against the Capitol building, we're not gonna convict him. And that's now their brand. So now, anyone who stands up for that.
This is a great point, because the second impeachment trial has been underway this week. And what is so interesting about the impeachment trial is, even though the impeachment may strictly be symbolic because he's no longer holding office, the trial puts all of this evidence in public record, including videos I haven't watched from his rally down the street from the Capitol that day. Have you watched this? Is this?
I watched.
Is there fire?
It's so fucking hard to watch, man. I mean, it's like really, truly upsetting and disturbing to watch what happened in real time. And I am no advocate for the police. I tend to think that they are under scrutinized. But watching those videos, I am absolutely on the side of the police and view them as heroes in what they did, because they were like 5 guys against like 1,000 people. It was like Sparta. It was, I mean, these guys are heroes. And in that individual circumstance, it's really hard to look at that and say, this is okay. And you're going to have not a majority, but a majority of Republicans in the Senate who are going to say this was okay. On whatever technicality, they're going to find it that this is acceptable, and we're not going to stop it now. And if it happens again, we're basically sanctioning that. And that's what this trial is about. Donald Trump is marginally on trial. He's nominally on trial. But what's really on trial is the soul of the Republican Party. And if they buy into this, voting Republican is voting for fascism over the rule of law, violence over the rule of law. And anyone who signs on to this and says, I'm a proud Republican, is saying, I'm a fucking fascist from here on out.
So, do you think Trump thinks he fucked up? Looking at the tape that they submitted Monday of, you know, him instigating whatever he's alleged to have instigated, do you think?
Yeah, I think he did. I think I've been thinking about this for the last 2 days, like, and watching the very good presentation that the Democratic managers have put on. Trump has to be saying, like, is there a moment where he's like, holy shit, maybe I really am responsible for this? Like it'd be hard to argue with. And I don't know that any level of self-realization will ever occur to that man. But if it's possible, I think he had it over the last 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's states now that want to take the stuff that's been submitted to public record and indict him on criminal charges. Do you think that goes anywhere? Or do you think that's more of the same?
I think it would be very hard to convict him on seditious conspiracy based on what was put in front of the Senate, because, you know, a criminal trial has a higher standard of proof than an impeachment trial does.
Yeah.
I do think there's plenty of criminal conduct in the form of financial conduct in particular that any number of courts in any number of states could take on and have some fairly easy convictions and certainly some fairly embarrassing investigations into the Trump organization. I think the one that has the most promise, however, is the investigations ongoing in I think it's Fulton County, Georgia, which relates to the actual attempt by the president to interfere with the election and to solicit fraudulent election results, which, by the tape.
Is that the thing where he said, find me 1,200 votes or however many it was?
It was 12,000, but yes.
Oh my God, I was that close?
It was that close.
I was just missing a zero.
It was like 11,780. He had the precise number, like he had it written on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It was like, I just need you to find me 11,780 votes. Like, that's not a fucking accident. Like that's not hyperbolic.
That's certainly not locker room talk. Am I right, fellas?
This is the solicitation of a fraudulent result in the election, and it is very clearly cut a crime. And I think it's any rational person, it's a slam dunk. Atlanta, Fulton County is a pretty liberal jurisdiction. Getting a jury there to convict Donald Trump of what he obviously did doesn't seem like a stretch. So
now, what happens then? Do you think they actually try to arrest him?
Yeah, fucking right they do. Why wouldn't you? He committed a crime. Like, why treat him any better than any other criminal?
But I mean, if he's not in Georgia, could they extradite him?
Yes, absolutely. That's how
from Florida.
Works. Absolutely.
I just don't know. I've never been rich or a criminal.
Is DeSantis really going to call up the National Guard to protect Donald Trump from extradition to Georgia? It's not a thing that's going to happen.
That's fucking interesting, dude.
Yes.
That's fucking interesting.
He will be extradited and he will go to fucking jail if he is convicted.
You think he'll go to jail?
I absolutely think he would go to jail if he's convicted. If he's convicted in a court of law, there will be a period where he exhausts every appeal and he will go to jail.
Do you
That's a big if.
Do you think he goes anywhere instead? Do you think he says, "Hey, let's go see where Melania's from"? And
Slovenia, I think, is NATO member, so I don't think he'd get anywhere.
So there. Maybe Cuba.
It'd probably be Russia. Let's be honest.
America's got too much to lose putting one of their own presidents in prison.
Well, Secret Service ever let him go? You think Secret Service, this guy,
but do you think
had access to every secret, every state secret, at least during 4 years? You think they let him fucking get on a plane and go to Russia? I don't see it
you're
happen.
saying? I thought you were saying. Do you think the Secret Service lets him go to prison? Do you think the Secret
let
Service
him
would
leave,
try to?
If he's under indictment and he tries to just take a trip to Moscow, I think the Secret Service is going to be like,
or Kuwait,
we're not going to let
shit.
this plane take off. Because it's what I would fucking do if I was in charge of.
But that's so interesting because he still technically has a relationship with Secret Service for the rest of his life or whatever.
Yeah, he does. He is under their protection for the rest of his life, and he knows a lot of shit, and a lot of shit that we sure don't want certain hostile powers to know.
Is that part of their thing? Is to and I know you're no expert on any of this. It's totally just some dudes talking. But is that part of the Secret Service's thing? Is to protect the information in the president?
They're employees of the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
They follow the orders of the president,
the current one,
not the president that may have been in office that they might be assigned to protect. The commander in chief runs the Secret Service at the end of the day.
So Kamala could say, "Don't let him."
It's Kamala.
So Kamala could say, "Don't let him."
Deaf.
It's
like Pamela, except Kamala.
So Kamala could say, "Don't let him go to St. Petersburg," and then Secret Service would say, "Nuh-uh, Mr. T."
Well, I don't think the vice president runs.
That's going to be a big no there, Donnie T.
But I do think the national security apparatus would have something to say about an ex-president fleeing the jurisdiction on the threat of criminal indictment to go to a hostile foreign power. It just doesn't seem like a thing we would want to take a chance with.
That's so interesting. I'd love to see all of those scenarios play out in some sort of a Doctor Strange exercise.
That'd be our OJ moment.
I want to see, like,
I viewed 700 million scenarios and only one did Donald Trump get to.
Is there a situation where if, say, if a police force tried to, what's the word? You grab them. You arrest somebody. You detain. If a police force tried to detain Donald Trump, would the Secret Service let them?
Well, it depends on what for, right? Like, he's an
Is there a
ex-president.
situation where the Secret Service has a standoff with local Georgia police?
Well, yeah, sure. When he was president, I don't think when he's not president, there's ever a scenario in which, unless the current president wants to exercise jurisdiction and say, you can't do this because I say so, essentially.
Jesus.
And let's be clear, Biden would never do that unless he had legal justification to do that. So he would have pages and memos of why it is that we can trump local authority and say,
no pun intended. Am I right, bitches?
You see what I did there? But if a president, Matt Gaetz, decided he didn't want the fucking New York police to arrest Donald Trump, he wouldn't have any of that. He'd just be like, I'm the president. I order the Secret Service not to do it. And then you'd have a real shit show.
What would that look like?
I mean, it would look like either one of them backing down, likely the local police, or you would have functionally a civil war.
Well, okay, so let's do this. Let's do this thought experiment. This is all hypothetical. We are not recommending that you buy GameStop or AMC or that you do any of these things. But let's just say local police show up at Mar-a-Lago and just say, hey, we got to arrest DT because
and Ron DeSantis is the president of the country at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's no way Joe Biden would say, don't arrest Donald Trump.
Right. And so let's just say the police show up and Secret Service say, we have orders not to let him kind of be detained by anyone for any reason. And let's say the police say, okay, we'll go home. What then happens? Do they have to leave, or can he just stay in Mar-a-Lago with his Secret Service detail, and it's some kind of like a standoff situation where we can't arrest him?
Standoff there. I think it's Donald Trump has now flouted the law, and he doesn't have to give a shit, which is pretty much how he's lived the whole life. So I mean, this is not that much different from the way things were under Donald Trump. Where any local authorities abutted against this bubble of magical impunity that he wielded for himself and whoever he decided to bring under it at the time. It was just like everyone's feckless. Like nobody's going to stand up to him. How many Trump officials were subpoenaed to Congress? As far as I know, if I get a subpoena to Congress, it's not a fucking option to show up.
That's what was so weird about the last 4 years for me, is how many subpoenas went unanswered. I had never considered the idea that if you got a subpoena, you could just not go.
Technically, and Pelosi never tested his authority, but technically they could have had the sergeant of arms march over to Louis DeJoy or to fucking Mnuchin and put him in fucking irons and lock him up in the Capitol until they showed up to testify. They have that authority. They didn't exercise it because they didn't want a constitutional showdown. So that's the scenario that was discussed. Like, what happens if the sergeant of arms shows up and Secret Service is like, fuck you, you're not taking Mnuchin, and they draw guns on each other? Like, who wins that battle?
That's what I was asking.
Nobody knows the answer.
Because nobody wants to risk it.
Nobody went to that level of brinksmanship. And fortunately, the Democratic gamble in not doing it paid off because they fucking won. If they hadn't won, I was kicked out of one of my partner's office, who is a good friend, but a diehard Republican.
Really?
But yeah, I have good friends who are diehard Republicans, believe it or not.
I'm referring to what, you guys got in an argument?
We just talk politics.
That's
sometimes.
just like lawyers,
Well, I mean, it's neither here nor there. But I made the comment that if Donald Trump wins in 2020, in 2020, we'll never have another election again. He said, you got to get out of my office now. Like, that was a bridge too far. But I stand by that statement. Like, I really do believe,
Al, you got to get out of my office.
This was either the last election or the next to the last election, or whatever. He correctly predicted Biden was going to win. He was like, there's no way
God damn
Trump
it
is going to win.
You know what I just realized? March 4th, the big QAnon relaunch of the original Republic, or whatever they want to do. That's the day before I'm having all my new furniture delivered.
Well, you know what? I think your new furniture is going to be okay.
You think it's going to be okay?
I think it's going to be.
You have some union workers.
I have a washing machine coming that Friday, and I have my Sleep Number bed coming that Friday.
Oh, that's exciting.
My Peloton should be here next week.
Oh, right on.
Oh, Al's back. Al, you look lean.
It's because you're losing half of my weight.
It's because I'm seeing the good half. It's gravity.
The background. No, it's why I wear the Chaminade hoodie.
I need to get that filter.
It's flattering. Like it's a Nike golf thing, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, we called it Chomp My Rod when we were in school.
That's all good. You know what? They're a very nurturing organization and culture for my 13-year-old who is not like a bro at all.
Is he liking it?
He loves it.
Because I cannot let my own children go to public school, so I'm considering all options.
I was skeptical because I knew kids our age, my age, who went to Chaminade, and it was a fucking bro center.
My buddy Cameron left, not that Cameron, the other one, left after 5th grade to go to Chaminade, and then I think he ended up flunking out, and then he's dead now.
It's actually hard. Like it's the workload was the biggest shock.
I know it's terrible. I couldn't go to his funeral. I was too upset.
That is terrible.
Yeah, he just
he had beautiful.
He had a big coke problem for a long time.
I don't think Chaminade had anything to do with that.
No. This was after. He was genetically predisposed to addiction.
I'm
sure he received a quality education when he was present for his
for the 6 months he was there.
I think he was there for all throughout junior high, but I think it was by sophomore year he was back in public school. That's really when shit hits the fan.
Is it sophomore year?
I don't know. I mean, everyone develops at a slightly different rate.
I didn't learn how to do shit until I was in college. And even then, like, it was like grad school. It was like, oh, I have to work now?
Ugh.
This sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the jam. Anyway, so Alfred, I really feel good about where we ended up there. We went all the way from, I have to quit going to drive-thrus, all the way through the stock craze of February 2021, landing on what happens if Donald Trump doesn't want to go to jail. I love the hypothetical. You're kind of creating some noise. Are you touching something?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Is that better?
Yes.
Weird.
Okay. I was actually holding the cord to the mic.
You bastard. It was your electricity from your finger pulp.
I'm sorry. It didn't come through on my end.
No, it wouldn't.
So let's go back to the drive-thru. Like, why do you have to quit drive-thrus? Because I missed this part of the conversation.
Yeah. Just it's just such a hit or miss negative experience, and it's if there's a drive-thru that's actually functioning, the line's going to be really long.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just going to completely turn it over to delivery. I'd like to quit leaving my home entirely. And I'm going to get a UV lamp for down here so I can get my my nature. My nurture, and I'm gonna get a little house plant, and we're gonna hunker down because it's a fucking mess out there.
So, what are your delivery options? Because we're
Postmates members, and so we get all kinds of stuff.
So you're not leaving anything on the table in order to move away from going to the drive-thru versus getting someone else to do it for you.
It's more about that. Yeah, but we're also trying to have healthier or more local options. We try to support a local business or or some place that's. I haven't been eating the food at McDonald's at all. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to step down.
It's literally garbage. I mean,
it's just not. Yeah, it's just not how I want to spend my calories.
Well, this is how I choose most of mine.
It's funny is because your background filter won't let us see what it is.
It is a course.
It is banquet.
It says banquet on the can.
Banquet.
We had this discussion early on in our relationship.
On this podcast, I think we've had this conversation. So great. So let me just Joe. Anything I missed in the chat for Al?
I don't think so. I mean, there were some small things you could touch on, like minimum wage and
Trump
stuff like
death
that.
Experts. What is that?
Let's go back to I feel like the lightning round died a very quick death. If you got more lightning round, let's do it.
Oh.
I don't know. It was just, there were small things like I don't know. Here you go.
The last thing I had written was Elon Musk.
Al, you have your kids in private school, right?
One of them. The other three are one of them's in public school, one of them's in private, the other two are preschool.
Is there any hope for education reform to fix? I mean, I'm surrounded by teachers, all teachers. Jake's a teacher. My girlfriend's a teacher. My sister is a teacher. And it is a horrible, it's a horrible operation. And
is that new?
But I just don't is there any hope for in your experience with the culture of politics, is there any way to progress from here, or does it only get worse?
There are two things that make teaching suck. One is not enough money. Two is the fucking parents. right?
Yeah.
Like private school takes both of those things out.
No,
of the
I mean
equation.
it also can be
Right.
fucking crazy in the system, in the building. Like I have no problem with
Well,
parents at all.
kids suck their own like ways, but I
Really?
mean, if you have the ability to deal with them in a way that like the system dictates, it makes your life a lot easier if you don't have to answer the parents, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, private school has the parents to some degree, but you know, it gives it. There's enough money in a private school so that's not an aspect. So you know, taking the accountability away from parents and putting it in the hands of the teachers, there's two aspects to that. But you know, ultimately, what public teachers have to deal with is parents that can make their lives hell. Private school teachers can sort of do this. They have some of that, but at the same time, it's like if your kid's really disruptive, a private school's gonna be like, get the fuck out of here. Whereas a public school doesn't have that option.
Yeah.
True.
So
There's that.
that is the fundamental issue when you have the schooling available to all kids. I don't know how to fix that one.
Yeah.
You can throw money at the problem all day, but unless you're just going to create a series of places to kick the kids that are really problems out of,
Yeah.
you know, you're always going to have this core group of kids that are really, you know, let's just face it. Some people are sociopaths, and they were sociopaths when they were born, and they didn't. There's no
Or some people are
schooling
made
to
that
fix
way
that.
by trauma, and that trauma can look a lot of different ways.
That's a nicer, a much more progressive way.
Well, and because fucking some
saying the
people,
same thing.
some people are born Damien fucking crazy, and some people are made fucking crazy.
Some people are redeemable. Some people just aren't. And you don't know which one it is until you try really hard. And public schools need to have the resources nor the ability with the parents looking over the shoulders to do either of those things.
Yeah.
But, you know, at some level, you're going to have a core group of irredeemable people. There are irredeemable people. They exist.
What do you, as a parent, how do you handle failure in parenting on the parts of other families that your kids have to interact with?
It's a hard one. I mean, I can think of one particular example where there was a kid that was a problem kid, and it wasn't his parents' fault. And they weren't militant about it. Like they were just like they ended up pulling him out of school, and I felt horrible for them. But it was the right answer. Like he needed to be somewhere that had the skill set to deal with his shit, because he was like every class, every group that he went into, he was the problem. And those kids, the same group of kids without him, did fine and thrived. And when he walked in the room, you know, for whatever reason, and I'm sure it wasn't the parents, because I know them and I know our kids played with them, and they were fine people. They weren't like fundamentally fucked up at
Right.
all. So this kid was a Damien. And, you know, I'm not saying he was irredeemable, but like, what do you do in that
It was
situation?
intrinsic. It wasn't even necessarily that it was his environment.
There's probably environmental factors, but you know, near as I could tell.
Now, what if there was a family like that moved in down the block and went to school with your kids that was like that was their fault? Like, what do you do about that?
Well, in that case, I mean, you just stay away from them. It's a lot easier in some ways when it's like, well, these people are just shit. Like you don't want to associate with them. These people were good people, and their kid was still a fucking monster. Like, what do you do?
Now, what if that's half of the kids?
Well, you find a way to send your kids to private school.
What
is
if
my answer.
coincidentally, like 40% of the student population are just kind of toxic culturally to the rest of the population?
I'm not going to call out any particular school district by name, but
I'm
does
not.
this have any historical basis in your career?
Um,
I'm not going to call it out.
What if Hillary Clinton got pregnant while she was in her presidency? You know, like that doesn't work.
She would have been like 70. That would have been fucked up in and of itself.
that's what would have been amazing, is
Yeah,
how
I mean,
old she was.
Fucking miracle. at that
Because they
point.
call anything after 35 a geriatric pregnancy.
That's exactly the line.
Yeah, I know.
I've been through 2 geriatric pregnancies of my kids.
How did that go? You
I
old
mean, they're
piece of
fucking
shit.
monsters. I don't know why we did it.
I know that little one is big.
Dude, you don't even know.
I haven't seen him in a minute. We should have him on. Is he available?
No, they're in bed. That's what I was doing right before I got on.
Wake that little fucker up. I want to talk to him. That'd
no,
be funny.
fuck you.
Oh, that'd be great if we ruined Al's day.
You see
Like,
the fear in my eyes? No, we're not waking them up.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We'll have to plan an earlier one.
I
That's
will
great.
definitely have my kids on at some point. It will not be entertaining or good for public consumption.
but it'd be good for them maybe.
Yeah, put them on a platform early.
Yeah, get them out there. We're gonna Macaulay Culkin the whole tribe.
I mean, my daughter's already the poster child for St. Louis Children's Choir, so
Oh, that's right.
Good.
Yeah,
we got that going for us.
yeah. It's all about girls right now.
And she uses that as her Zoom background because she's now an entitled bitch, apparently.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I don't care for that.
She's
Yeah.
I
10.
love it.
I just called my 10-year-old daughter a bitch.
An entitled bitch.
She's not a bitch. She might be a little bit entitled.
We're 2 hours in, so we're probably safe. And if I really,
You're not going to air any of this. Like, we're past the point of like the Jacob V hour, like running. Like,
is that what you call my
Jacob
show?
V
Us hanging
hour.
Is
out
that
now,
what you
right?
call my show?
The Jacob V Radio Hour.
It's the Jacob V hour.
I mean, it's not a bad name for the show.
I was just thinking, like, if I loved you, I would name my episode, quote, I just called my 10-year-old daughter a bitch.
Please don't do that.
I'm not. And, this is the part where typically most of my audience is asleep by now because they start listening. I get this feedback all the time, and I think other podcasters do too, and I don't know why.
It just puts me to sleep. It's so relaxing.
It's so, you know what? I got so relaxed. 20 minutes in, fell right asleep. Last thing I heard, you guys were talking about Lion's
audiobooks
Choice.
are to me. Like, they're like my, like, ambient. Like, audiobooks are great.
Yeah. Yeah, I did have Lion's Choice for lunch.
Do you have Ambien?
No, I don't. I've never actually taken Ambien. I don't trust it at all.
My buddy used to take Ambien, and he would drive across town while he was blackout on Ambien.
That's why I don't take it. I'm sure I would continue to operate also blacked out.
That's the thing. I'd be afraid, like, I'd end up, like, at somebody's back door. I'd go down the alley in my pajamas and bang on someone's door and be like, hey, the oranges! I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. My Jimmy John just got here, so I'm gonna go eat a sandwich made by a guy.
Is it time for us to call the podcast?
It is. I think
Jimmy John?
this has been really strong, Al. I really appreciate your time.
Cut the part where I call my 10-year-old daughter a bitch, please.
Yeah, let's keep bringing it up. That'll make it really easy to fix and post. So, Al, I'm gonna let you go. If you just want to stay back for a minute, I'm just gonna wrap this up, guys. If you want to hold the line.
Deal? Is that hold the line or go?
Yeah.
Either one. I didn't want to kick you off because I know
I'm drinking a beer. So.
That's what I was saying. So yeah, let me just wrap this up real quick, you fuckers.
Do what you got to do. I'm
I'll
not
do
going to
the whole-
interrupt. I'll put myself on mute.
Woo! Oh, guys, that's another episode of Jacob V Weekly. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google, whatever. We have a new Instagram page for the show you heard us talk about. That's at Jacob V Weekly. We post exclusive content and now clips and highlights from previous episodes. You can also find original music by Jacob V and Too Deep on all of your platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer. You could Bing it. Exclusively on Bandcamp, you can find music by my old band Stag. I love those guys, and that's the only place where that is available currently. You can follow me on Twitter at Malachi Envy. I curate a monthly Spotify playlist since May of 2020. I have one for each month on Spotify. Search for Jacob V's favorite songs, and you'll see them all there. February is really a doozy. We did it, guys. Jacob V Weekly. Be safe.